Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pasta Jardula.
Die, rebel scum.
That's Fiorella. And Johnny Sue is still spinning on the ones and twos. What's going on there with your Darth Maul voice this early this morning?
Apparently, we are on the Daily Beast as one of these crazy dirtbag left part of this left-right alliance, according to none other than the Daily Beast. By the way, did you forget who sits on the board of the Daily Beast? Wasn't it
Hillary Clinton's daughter, Chelsea?
Yes.
Oh.
It's kind of interesting now.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to talk about that, but I just wanted to start off with that because, I got sent this article and I'm just like laughing. I'm reading all this crap that they're saying and it's like, wow, they're scared. They're angry because they're getting exposed.
Damn.
And all of you watching are part of the reason that they're getting exposed, because if you weren't watching, they wouldn't really see a need. Like if we weren't making an impact, of course. And they talk about Jimmy Dore, of course, extensively. They talk about, I think they bring up Ford Fisher for sure. They talk about a lot of people.
They brought up Niko.
They brought up Niko, of course. And
they brought up one of my quotes. Fam. They hate us because they ain't us. That's what Johnny said.
I'm sorry. I gotta finish sharing.
I said I wanted some unity of sorts.
Yeah,
That I don't want people at each other's throats to understand that the oligarch is playing them, fam, and they call me out with lies and manipulations.
And I always specify too. I always make sure when we say like elites, like what we mean by that. Like, the 1%, the corporations, the national security state, etc. The people who are behind the scenes moving the pieces regarding the, not the presidency, but everybody else. And so that is real. Like that is a real thing. And here they're like mocking it and saying, oh, these right-wing conspiracies of a cabal of elites. And they're saying that, Alex Rubinstein, they mentioned.
Yeah.
And it's, the Russia propaganda. Like, it's like, wow.
Russia.
It's like, I feel, in a way, Pasta, this is a good thing because it just shows you how scared they are. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let me just
How many
finish.
more lies and manipulations is the Convo Couch got to take over here? We keep just getting written about this and that, and how come it was okay when Bernie Sanders went around and said, that's not a government, that is an oligarchy?
Exactly.
Isn't that the same thing as elites? Like, I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. The people who run things, like you said, behind the scenes, a disclaimer has to come in. They're really trying to take that. And even in this article, too, they try to whitewash, again, the pedophilia. Once again, they want to act like the Clintons weren't hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. Like it's nothing again, so they can get away with what they're getting away with. And just keep on watching and listening for Ghislaine. Watch what happens with that situation.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes bye-bye with Uncle Joe. You better believe it.
You know what we're not going to cover?
Conspiracy theorists. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, you know what we're not going to cover related to something that a lot of people are talking about is the freaking monarchy in England. Like I mean, why is America? First of all, Americans are too obsessed with that. I don't care about the fact that she's the first black, whatever. What is it? She's the first black. She's not in the lining. I don't. Whatever.
She's
I don't
married
care.
into the family.
Yeah, she's
right?
in the monarchy, so she's like the
Yeah.
first black princess or whatever she is, and duchess or I don't know. But I honestly don't know. But like I just we're not going to talk about that because I think Americans already have their own monarchy here, right? We make celebrities out of politicians, and we make celebrities out of celebrities, and so we pretty much have that same system. I was saying yesterday, like, we got rid of Americans rebelled against the monarchy because they wanted a representative government, but it's basically turned into feudalism all over again.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to recognize. Who gives a shit about Meghan Markle and all this other crap? Like these people are rich beyond measure. That family is beyond shady as all hell.
I just don't understand, fam, how they're like going to be, Oprah's going to be taken back. Like what somebody asked about how dark your baby's going to be.
No.
Oh my God.
Wait,
Meanwhile,
they're racist?
Whoa,
no.
You don't ask any questions about asshole Prince Andrew right there, who was like freaking sitting there hanging out with the Epsteins. I know you were getting to that. I'm sorry but
no.
Because it just drove me crazy when she was acting all crazy. I'm like, Oprah, I can see these are your friends here. You don't want to question anything about the connections to Epstein that Prince Andrew had. Asshole Andrew, or whatever.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
I don't like to call him.
That's what I would ask.
Because he's not a prince. He just dresses up like one. That's all they're doing. They're not special. They just dress up.
Yeah. Anyway, because everybody was focusing on the stupid. That's what irritated me, on the stupid thing with Meghan Markle and Harry. they completely missed the fact that Yemen was getting bombed, right, fam?
Well, yeah. I mean, they always miss.
Oh, yes, you're right. That's a daily, regular occurrence.
A day late, dollar short. There's always something going on in America to distract us from what's going on, the bombing and the killing. Let's not talk about that racism, that we're just bombing people of color in Yemen, and 60% of all children under 5 years old have a chance to die from starvation, and it's the worst humanitarian situation ever out there. And even though the fact that Joe Biden said he was going to end it and all this shit, but let's just start off with my homeboy over here was ice fishing out here, you know what I'm saying? And this has been going on. It's been getting a lot of play, and it's just a great little one-liner over here.
Young Democrats like Ben see a lot of promises unkept.
They're putting that stimulus check on the back burner. They're putting the minimum wage hike on the back burner. And they're dropping bombs in Syria right now. And those bombs are kind of expensive for a dude who owes me $2,000,
Young Democrats like Ben.
It's just so great, dude. Those bombs are kind of expensive for a dude who owes me $2,000.
Yeah. I mean, what? You could give people like double that amount and still have money left over to go bomb whoever else you wanted. But no. We can't do that. But, and it's not like I'm encouraging bombing people if you get money. But I'm just saying, I think people are realizing, this is a little ridiculous now. Like, they're like, wait a minute. We're not getting our money, and you have time to go bomb another country. You have time to go talk about the stupidest crap that doesn't even matter and put little signs all over your lawn, but you don't have time to actually give people what you said you campaigned on.
Yep.
That we have plenty of videos on.
Well, there's still that argument, too, as well. I mean, we can have a whole video on just trying to prove the fact that he said it, he didn't say it. I mean, it's disgusting to see these progressives, I'm going to get the air quotes out there, defend him for bombing Syria, defend him for lying about the checks. They are actually defending him. And I just remember that tweet you made one time a long time ago, and it was like it took them one cycle for them to herd you back into the goddamn Democratic Party. Yep. And here you are capitulating and chilling for them. So it's disgusting. And, it's not even just for me, and I think for Fam and Johnny, I bet we're all, the number one reasons why we don't want bombs is we're compassionate. We don't want people killed and whatnot. But, I mean, there is a side to it, like, where it leads to other death. Because it takes away from resources at home where people can't get medicine, education, schooling, housing, whatnot.
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah.
They use it as an excuse. Even if it doesn't take away, technically, that's what they use as an excuse.
Yeah. So I got this little article up that Jesse Zerwell put up yesterday, and it just says, how much do these bombs really cost right over here? And Johnny, if you could just scroll down to the point, because pretty much he talks in the very beginning about the fact that last year there was so many bombs dropped, and already this year there's been 415 in one area, 68 in another area. So we're already over 500 bombs for the year and stuff. And if you look at the prices of these air-to-air missiles, each one, 472,000, 430,000, fam. There's some missiles that cost 1.1 million. There's some missiles that cost $1 million. There's another air to surface missiles that cost 6.1 million. Then you got the cheap ones that cost 70 grand. No, 31 grand, you know what I'm saying? 200 grand, they're cheap there. But they're not. Those are not the missiles they're using out in the oceans, out off these aircraft carriers, because they're the ones used by the Navy. You can see some of these long range missiles, 3.51 million. I mean, it's just friggin' ridiculous. And I just when I looked at this, I was like, holy shit. And the libertarians must be pulling their hair out of their heads because, you know what I'm saying, anti-interventionists that they are, and they just point out the fact that we have all these bombs that we drop on a regular basis, and we're keeping it going. Now Syria has been amped up. Now the bases are coming back. Now they're rearming. Now every single other day we're going to hear about a different attack, and it's different this time because now it's Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. But if you listen to General Lloyd Austin in this next clip over here, and pretty much they'll say it: we'll bomb who we want to bomb when we want to bomb them.
This week, we saw a second significant attack with those 10 rockets. Do you know who did it, and what kind of responses might we expect?
We want to make sure that again, we understand who's responsible for this. The message to those that would carry out such an attack is that, expect us to do what's necessary to defend ourselves. We'll strike. If that's what we think we need to do at a time and place of our own choosing.
This week
Okay, so fam, here's something to think about, and don't mean to get all conspiracy theorists and whatnot. It's like we don't know who does this, right? And anybody who does this, any type of action, will solicit a reaction from us. So we'll just say it's somebody because we want to justify and manufacture consent for bombing Iran or going after somebody, whatnot. I mean, these are militias in these areas and stuff, and they're just doing what they normally do, fam. So.
Yeah, no, he's doing the equivalent of Elon Musk saying we'll coup who we want to coup.
Exactly.
But
That's what I thought about.
But in lesser terms, like in a different term where he's saying like before they're trying to juxtapose it like Donald Trump would just bomb whoever, like no, we're gonna do it in the right moment under the right circumstances because we're polished and we know what we're doing, unlike Orange Man Bad. So the result is the same. They're trying to paint themselves as more logical and cognizant, but they're just as hungry for blood, if not more, and thirsty to go out and get these resources. Because that's what this is all about. This isn't about just, them just wanting to bomb people. This is about specific things they want, specific resources and control of certain regions that they want.
Yeah. And there's still sanctions. There's still a blockade on Yemen. They're still bombing them. So what do the Houthis do? They respond back. They actually hit a Saudi Aramco oil facility in a missile drone attack. Now, Saudi Aramco is the big one right there. That's the one that MBS brought to the stock exchange. It's one of their biggest oil companies. And the fact that they were able to get in deep into the territory of Saudi Arabia and get them and bomb them, makes it's cause for concern. So what did Saudi Arabia do? They went and bombed right back in the capital of Yemen. You know what I'm saying? So shortly after, here we go. And it's a big difference. Like in an oil refinery gets hit. There it is. An attack on Aramco's facilities came by Saudi-led military coalition bombed Yemen Houthi-controlled capital of Sana'a. Did I say that right? Is it Sana'a or Sana'a?
I think it's Sana'a, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the whole thing is that if we're over there, no matter what, there's always going to be some type of reaction. But Joe Biden said that we're going to stop this bombing. We're not going to do it. I have the next article up right over here. Remember, he said plain and simple. The AP, fam. I wanted to get a real trusted source. So I went to the AP. Biden ending U.S. support for the Saudi-led offensive in Yemen. It's a lie. It's a lie. He'll constantly lie. And I'll say, well, they can defend themselves. How are you defending yourselves when you're going into Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, and you're bombing?
Democrats are like, God, I don't want to get too crass here. It's like they shit out of the same side that they eat. Like they on one end they're talking about, oh, we're gonna stop the offensive against these poor Yemeni people, and that's what we're gonna do. Vote for me, Joe Biden. I'm not gonna be as evil as Donald Trump. And then as soon as he gets in, oh yeah, we're stopping the offensive, but we're gonna continue supplying Saudi Arabia on the DL and just stepping off and saying, oh, they got the right to defend themselves. You knew that was going to happen. This is how they do this. They constantly talk out of two sides of their mouth. Yeah. It's disgusting. It really, like, it's the way he has amped up the use of the wanting to use of these drones, and they're telling you they literally bombed Syria. Saudi Arabia is now bombing Yemen in a more drastic way. Israel, of course, has been doing bombing Syria for a while now, and nobody's cared. Yeah. And so now it's like the media isn't talking about how crazy Joe is just going over there and bombing people and starting more wars in the Middle East. They're not talking about that. They're not going to. And so, like, that's the difference between the Trump administration and the Biden administration. You're not hearing anything. You're more distracted by scrunchies, by
Monarchy
Harry
babies.
And who isn't even, they're not even I mean, she's American, but he's not. Like, you're more distracted by all this bullshit to also hide the fact that they're doing this while not giving you any money. So
yeah. And the fact that they're saying that their stage was like CPAC was a bunch of Nazi symbols and stuff like that. But yet your Democratic administration is just bombing like it's out of style. And here comes General Lloyd Austin coming saying, we'll bomb who we want, what we want, when we want. So as long as we're there, no matter what, we're going to continue to do those things that we shouldn't be doing. Mm-hmm. They'll lie to the people. Remember AOC? Oh, this is a monarch king. This is a rabbit king, a crazy king who's just bombing this and stuff. What has she said about this?
A mad king, yeah.
A mad king. Crickets. Like last night when I went to bed, there was nothing on the AOCs. There's nothing on Rashida. There was nothing on people from the squads. Twitter about what's going on.
Yeah,
in
what
Yemen.
day is it? And she hasn't said a goddamn word.
Still.
I'm just waiting. I'm still waiting.
Still.
I'm still holding out hope.
Yeah,
not really.
But she's still there telling you how bad the Republicans are in every single breath. Meanwhile, the Democratic establishment has just amped up the bombing, giving out weapons contract left and right, is about to do an about face again now on Afghanistan. I was reading a report about Afghanistan. It's like, that was the thing that supposedly Trump wanted to do, but he got talked out of it. And now they said that Joe Biden said he wants to do it, but they're looking about people who are going to talk him out of it. The military-industrial complex, I don't want to say the elites or the oligarchs, but the military-industrial complex, they're no joke, and they control Washington, and they get people to do their bidding. Because the money we spend every year, the money that's appropriated by the government every year, that they direct the Fed, most of it goes towards the weapons making. You know what I'm saying? So it's just terrible. They can appropriate money and leave it here at home.
But it is, Pasta, to your point, it is elites. Like, it is a very small group of people who do this. It's nobody's saying, well, maybe some people are saying, I'm not saying it's like 5 people, like families descendant of serpent kings or whatever it is that's on the, on that end of the spectrum. I haven't seen any evidence of that. But what I do know is that for a long time, the United States has pretty much been a corporation controlled by interests regarding oil, regarding the military, regarding the national security state, and how they are going to surveil the masses and maintain control and security under the guise of safety and democracy. And that what we do to other countries, we do here. It's just at a lesser level. Now we're bringing a lot of our imperialism home, as you guys can see, and so that started this past year, amping up more. And what we're going to be seeing is an attempt to dismiss that's happening, an attempt to censor people who say words like elites, even though the New York Times literally said a cabal of elites actually manipulated the election.
Time magazine, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, the Time magazine actually.
The other Fugazi paper.
Yeah, they're all
similar. All full of shit. They really are. Because why? They're owned by corporate interests who tell them what people they choose the reporters who are going to play ball. Let's be honest over here.
Yep.
And they want to propagate war. They want to propagate, the whole two-party system they're behind. You know what I'm saying? It's like a kabuki theater. It's just, and like I said, AOC, all she does is attack the Republicans. She's attacked the Republicans, attack the Republicans.
She's helping maintain the theatrics of it all by giving you this little bit of, they're progressive. Caitlin Johnston wrote a recently good article talking about how, like, as long as these people like Bernie and AOC continue pretty much towing the Democratic line and giving you like a hint of, oh, look, we're going to get this, progressives are going to win and blah, 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 you're never going to actually have real opposition. Because even the Republicans at their little conference, they weren't being anti-war. They weren't saying, no, we need to get out of the Middle East. They were saying, Donald Trump got on there and saying, like, Joe Biden isn't doing enough. He's being weak and blah, blah, blah. That's the stance that they took. Now, there are other people on the right who have a different stance, but that's what that conference did. There's no real opposition to the duopoly at all. Like, not in politics, like existing right now. The opposition lies outside of the political sphere. So,
yeah. And that's really what the majority of people think. You know what I'm saying? He might, some people might have a lot of followers, but I think the majority of people just want to stop with all the bullshit, and they like to see some bread and butter policies that are going to help the working class out there put food on the table and put a roof over their heads and stuff. Get a couple flowers in that green garden over there or something, fam. It's just it's awful. Like you did say, with the CPAC the thing, we watched that Donald Trump speech twice. He couldn't go after Joe Biden for calling, the whole thing. That was right after, the whole Blinken and calling Guaido, because he did the same thing. Mm-hmm. He couldn't go after Joe Biden for bombing. Joe Biden. He couldn't go after Joe Biden for bombing Syria because he did the same thing. He did it a little bit later. Joe did it in 36 days. I think Donald Trump did it in 80. But I mean, once again, it's the same kind of people who are running things, whether it be Donald Trump or Joe Biden. There is no difference. And war is war. And and once again, I was having a debate, and we're going to put the video out soon with my good friend Eagle Ed Martin, propagating the whole Uyghur thing. That's like you're just spurting out CIA talking points, and it's the same people who screwed Donald Trump, and you're sitting here. But anyways, we can just go round and round with this thing all day long, fam. Anything else to say about that, Johnny? You don't think Joe is a peacemaker? Okay. Johnny says no, Joe's not a peacemaker. Trey Wright, Love you all. Keep speaking the truth. We will. There's 84 people already on the Rokfin. That is awesome, guys. Get on over to the Rokfin, Rokfin. Come over from the YouTube. There's plenty of people over there. I love you all over there. But as you know, we've been demonetized on YouTube for speaking the truth. You know, that's why the Daily Beast wrote about us. They hate us because they ain't us. Right, Johnny?
That's what Johnny says.
That's what Johnny says. They hate us because they ain't us. And that's the truth. But you guys have showed love, and you guys have helped us out. We want to thank you. You can help us get to D.C. The Fuck Censorship tour will be going on, and we're going to be joining a lot of people up there. The Action for Assange people.
Yes.
Because we have to take to the streets now. We have to take our action to the megaphones, fam, and let these people know what they're doing is wrong, because this affects us all. You know, if they get to set the narrative and they get to tell us what they want and they get to suppress our voices, you'll never get the truth. You'll get what they want you to hear, what they want you to think. And that is the problem. People still watch the mainstream media like it's going out of style, and they need to stop. So we need your help. Follow us. Thank you. Like, share. Do all those beautiful things. If you got a few extra bucks, you can subscribe to us for $9.99 a month. We would appreciate that. Be an endorsee, that is, on Rokfin. And you'll get everybody's premium content for free across the board for $9.99. It's not for free, but everybody else's. You know what I mean? Fam, I'm lost in my words. So let's talk about this, because another people who hate us because they ain't us, right, is the Daily Beast.
Yeah, so again, Chelsea Clinton. So, I think she still does.
I don't know if she's still on the board, but
she was for a long time on the board of the Daily Beast. And we know during at least I don't know if you guys remember, but during the 2016 primary against Hillary Clinton, the Daily Beast released multiple articles against Bernie Sanders, smearing him, talking about Bernie bros, talking about how sexist they are and all this other crap, right? And they consistently put out smear pieces on the progressives and all. So it's interesting to me that now the Daily Beast has not focused so much on the Bernie Sanders left, but now has focused more on the left beyond Bernie.
It's called the dirtbag left, fam.
Quote unquote dirtbag left. Now, the dirtbag left includes people that I don't even listen to, like the Chapo Trap House, which is interesting because I know they were actually more critical of AOC and the squad than most were. So that I agree with. But it's really interesting that they are bringing up, and they used a great picture of Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore looks great in this picture. And they're bringing up. Okay, so this is let's read some of this, okay? Because, they're right here. Their podcast. And, okay, so let's read the whole title. These dirtbag left stars are flirting with the far right.
Fringe meets fringe.
Their podcast and shows are full of boogaloos, deep state conspiracies, and even great replacement talking points. Which side is this again? And Alexander Reed Ross, I swear I've heard his name around as an author. This is just, I could literally, you know what, the G Hive, the G off giraffe, you could literally take some of his tweets against us and put it on this title. That is how stupid this title is. And I mean, look.
I love this. I love the way it starts out. Go ahead. Over the past year, as the far right trafficked in wild anti-masker and pro-Donald Trump fantasies that led to the January 6th pushed. Is that right? Pushed on the Capitol? What is that?
They're talking about the fucking insurrection.
Yeah, but what is pushed? Some prominent member of the dirtbag left and radical left have been promoting figureheads in the Boogaloo Boy movement, circulating deep state conspiracies and bantering about the great replacement talking points.
You mean, what do they mean by great replacement? Because all I know is we've mentioned the Great Reset. I don't know what great replacement they might be talking about.
Well, they kind of go into this article, just talking about, they go after, first of all, they start talking about the Boogaloo Boy situation. So I don't know why people are so just fixated on this whole situation.
Yeah. I mean, they mentioned Magnus, right? And Jimmy Dore's interview. And that, they talk about Jimmy Dore interviewing Magnus and the heavily armed boogaloos that promoted attacks against the state and government officials and retaliation for COVID safety restrictions. Okay, so
they're still talking about this one.
Yeah, but event. Nothing I've seen from the Boogaloo Boys or from anyone for that matter. I don't even think I saw that on the right was saying we should go attack the government for wearing masks. They were just simply not wanting to wear them. Now, while I think it's a stupid hill to die on about a mask wearing, like yes or no, you know, some people they think it's control. I mean, I disagree. I don't think it's control. I think, you know, whatever. I don't really care. It's not something that I'm really angry about. But it's just really interesting that they're saying like they're promoting an attack on the government, like when that never happened. A lot of people just didn't agree with it. I know some Boogaloo Boys attended. Ford Fisher showed us one of the like anti-mask protests or something, but I don't think
it wasn't even like anti-mask. It was anti-lockdown. That's what it was. Anti-mask. Yeah, it was anti-lockdown, and then they just would immediately say these people don't believe in masks. No, they were pissed off, aggravated, just so uptight and just angry the fact that the government is forcing these lockdowns but not financially giving people a solution.
Right.
So now you have people out there, whether you want to believe it or not, it's like, oh, well, that's not true. These right-wingers just are anti-masker and they don't believe in the COVID. I'm like, no, a lot of them are just anti-lockdown because we haven't given them a financial solution to come out of the woods. Their business might not be there when we get back. And remember when it was small businesses. I don't know if you guys are probably too young, but when I was growing up and watching the whole debates between George Bush Sr. and whoever the donkey he was running at, was all about small businesses. It was like the small business was the heartbeat of America. Now they're getting crushed and everybody's moving into like big corporate business. All the money's moving from here into one big pockets over here. Guys like Bezos, who are now just going to be a trillionaire a lot quicker than they were set to be. Can you believe we're actually saying that somebody's going to be a fucking trillionaire?
As people are getting poorer. People are getting poorer, right? Yeah. And that just tells you. And then they talked about, they're obsessed with the Boogaloo Boys.
They are.
And this is why,
Rubinstein, let's go to the Rubinstein part.
Yeah, where is it? Okay, so, there it is. You know, I had Alex on as well, and so did a lot of the indie media when he was talking about Fauci's history. But here they're talking about Alex Rubinstein, who has reported for the Russian state-backed RT America, which U.S. intelligence identified as a player in the Russian election interference in 2016. Ooh. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? This thing has been debunked I don't know how many times. Now you're talking about so we also appeared on RT.
He's a player, fam.
He wrote for RT, so that means he's a Russian asset now. You're insinuating that Alex Rubinstein is a Russian asset for having written articles for RT. And, you know, he shared a video of Panvidya at a protest stating, time to rethink the left-right paradigm. Rubinstein also called a pro-Second Amendment protest involving Boogaloo Boys and a black gun rights group last July a multiracial armed movement in actual solidarity. What is wrong with that? He's literally calling it as he sees it. And by the way, I noticed how they call a black gun rights group like as if that's a bad thing. Do you know your history? Do you remember who the Black Panthers were? Or did you guys just forget that the FBI and the CIA killed two of their most prominent members in Fred Hampton and Malcolm X? Like, what kind of bullshit is this? You know who sits on the board of this fucking trash entertainment magazine is basically the equivalent of what it is. It's like, that's basically, it's worse than what's TMZ. TMZ tells more truth than these people.
I was going to say the Inquirer.
Yeah, it's like the National Enquirer.
The inquiring minds want to know.
Politics.
Was somebody abducted by a UFO? Inquiring minds want to know.
So they go on to talk about how Alex said the left thinks the blue-collar MAGA people who stormed the Capitol are their political enemies. This is how we lose. Our enemies should be the political elite and the oligarchy. We should be trying to convince the people who stormed the Capitol, not trying to ID them for the FBI. Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. This is what we've been saying all along. Your enemy isn't your neighbor. Your enemy isn't the guy next door who has different political beliefs. Your enemy are the people pushing the propagandas that divide us and splitting us and getting you to focus on each other instead of them. He's absolutely 100% right. We always echo that message here, and I have no shame in saying that because I think it's absolutely divisive to focus on another person, even if they did something bad. Like, really, why are they doing this? Why are they upset? Why don't we talk about the whys behind the actions that happen instead of focusing on let's become FBI informants. We love the CIA. We love the FBI. Now we're going to rat on our neighbors. And that's what they want. They want people to rat on each other. They want to destroy any kind of trust and solidarity between the working class. Duh. Like, hello. If you don't realize that by now, I don't know what to tell you. That we've been talking about this for the entirety of the existence of the show.
Yeah, I talked to some friends outside the bubble, and we talk politics and stuff like that, and I try to get them to understand it's like we have a lot more in common with these people than they were made out to be. Like, it's just the old trick of pit people against each other, and then they can run off with all the money. Simple tactic. Happens to work, and that's what our good friend George Carlin says, and they're still trying to do the same thing today. That's why you see AOC, all she'll do is go after Republicans. Even today, and they're going after Republicans. You hear them on the floor, Democrats. It's like, guys, you signed the I was going to say that one there. You guys signed the CARES Act too as well. You're okay with the bombing over there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, it's not like the Democrats have helped the people. They want you to believe that they're trying to help you and the Republicans are stopping them. No. That's just not the truth. They want us divided, and even though people you might not agree with them on everything, they're not your enemy. They want you to think your neighbor is your enemy. Yeah. It's a tactic that works. Fam, this next part of the thing I think we have to bring up, because they love to always connect Jack Sobiak and Niko. Like, that's the thing. If they can connect that, they will always mention that they have a guy, a right winger from OAN, and Niko is shit because he's working with this guy and he's talking to them. So it says Jack Sobiak, a far-right media figure who spearheaded the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, which insisted Hillary Clinton led a pedophile cabal run out of Comet Pizza, reposted Dore's tweet, in which the populace said he was completely floored by his interview with Panvidia. Thank you so much. And commenting simply, exactly. On another occasion, he reposted a tweet to Telegram calling Dore a Jack Sobiak Democrat. I mean, look at the wording. Last October, Sobiak also interviewed People's Party advocate Niko House in an OAN program devoted to the perpetual neoliberal nightmare. And House was featured in Sobiak's documentary, Antifa, Rise of the Black Flag. Okay. Fam, first of all, I didn't even know Niko was really a big advocate for the People's Party. Whatnot, is he?
Yeah, I mean,
he spoke at
he
the thing,
spoke at it,
but he's not like a huge advocate and stuff like that. Trust me, we don't have weekly talks with Niko going, so what are we gonna do about the People's Party? What's going on? That's not like and then people have tried to tie us to that. Like, listen, I have nothing against them. They're doing their thing. We're just not signed on the advisory board.
We've actually been critical about them from the start. We were, we organized with them. We had issues in our organizing, but we also said, like, give them the try. I've mentioned many times here how my organizer friends did not trust Nick Brana and did not trust the party structure or whatever, and they refused to work with them. And and they have their issues. Nobody's saying that that's not true. But the thing is, I'm not going to stop any people from trying to create something that it is they want. Like, there's going to be issues because we live in a system where there's infiltrators, there's co-option, there's all these things going on. And what I wanted to talk about is what Niko actually did on that program. Now, I don't always agree with Niko on, on what he does or who he talks to and all of that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to give a leftist perspective to the right. And that's or an anti-imperialist or whatever. He mentioned something about Antifa back in the day being a different group and actually having more of a centralized structure in the part of the documentary where he's talking about that. He didn't say that Antifa were terrorists and blah 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 like that people are painting it out to be. Jack Sobiak's documentary might be anti-Antifa, but the part where Niko was talking about, he was talking about the historical context of Antifa and how they started, and how he was arguing that they're more the origins of Antifa were more centralized than what we're saying, that it's now a decentralized group, etc. So that was all he said. And they're tying this like, oh no, Niko House, advocate of the People's Party. So People's Party, ooh, it's connected to Jimmy Dore. Oh, and the People's Party, all these people, yeah, they're anti-Democrat. That's what this is about.
Yeah, that's the language they're using.
That's literally
Yeah.
what this is about.
This person's a conspiracy theorist. He's with this person. And they're trying to connect dots right now and and have you not look at it in a nuanced manner. And that's exactly what they're doing. And he also had the opportunity to talk about reparations on a show where he wanted to talk about reparations.
He talked about reparations.
He should have every ability to go over there and try to explain that to a Republican audience.
Yeah.
Listen, I just had a show with a guy named Eagle Ed Martin, right? He's a Republican conservative. We talked about the CPAC speech. There's a lot of things we disagree on, but it's important for us to have these uncomfortable conversations. You know what I'm saying? And I say it all the time. Let's get comfortable with that. We're going to disagree, but let's talk about it. And once again, when you talk to some people like that, they might seem like anti-immigration and whatnot, but you explain your point of view. They tell you theirs, and then you come to some conclusion.
Right.
Also, do you want to read the next one right here?
Yeah. So
because we got to talk about Tito.
Yeah. So they mention our friend Tio. On the official page dedicated to making the case for a People's Party, the group quotes an author named Teodoros Fikra,
That's why.
full name Teodoros Fikra Mariam, whose other writings speak out against Freemasons and their serpent master and slam the racist philosophy of Zionism and those fake Jews who pray in the synagogue of Satan. Okay, I haven't read that from Theo, but he hosted Dore on his podcast in an interview focused on the corporate press as the enemy of the people, in which the duo floated the idea that the U.S. funded ISIS and secretly started the war in Syria in order to install a natural gas pipeline from...
They did!
Are you fucking kidding me?
They did!
This is fact.
But
what
they're
are
still
you
working
talking
with
about?
ISIS.
We literally, Vanessa
my
Beeley was just on the
God.
show. She's in Syria telling us that they're transporting Al-Qaeda affiliates right now, like in Syria. Like what, and where do you, like, they're trying to paint the truth as conspiracy and conspiracy as truth. This is what they do. This is what they've been doing forever. And this is why they're scared, because a lot of us are completely destroying their narrative. We're fucking destroying it, and they can't handle it. And they're like, oh my God, we gotta make them look bad.
And if you agree with anybody from the Republican side at all on any single issue or something, then you're enemy number one. You can never agree with them. You can never find common ground with them. They have to be the enemies. You have to wag your finger at them. We have to be separate. We have to cancel culture them because they're racist pieces of shit. But meanwhile, you're standing over here on the left with all these Democrats while they're being racist pieces of shit and just acting nicely to you with a friendly face. So,
and so
this is our part.
Okay.
Now they eventually took some time. They wrote a book here, but eventually they got to us. So one podcaster who spoke at the Movement for a People's Party driven #Force the Vote protest. It wasn't.
It wasn't actually for okay, so before I get into it, the Movement for the People's Party had made a town hall that was Force the Vote, and they were behind that. But the actual organizing that happened on the ground with Jackson Hinkle. He just got a bunch of people together. Yeah. He got, Brianna Joy Gray. He got a bunch of other people to organize, and they did it. And then we all went. And then the Assange folks came up and supported that protest. And in return, a lot of those people supported the Assange protest. Yeah. And it was great. Notice how they don't mention Julian Assange at all. But it wasn't. What they're trying to do is tie everything to the Movement for the People's Party, including all of us, which we literally don't really have any ties to the Movement for the People's Party. They said, Fiorella Isabel, the Convo Couch, and independent journalist Ford Fisher on the Convo Couch for a segment called Boogaloo Boys and BLM Unity, in which her co-host Craig Jardula, glad they spelled your name right, called for solidarity between Black Lives Matter and the Proud Boys, a chauvinist movement whose members now face conspiracy charges for the role in the January 6th putsch, which is an overthrow of the government.
Which is a joke.
Proclaimed, no matter what, I'm hoping that there's some unity in the streets whatsoever. I know that these two groups, the Proud Boys and BLM, they kind of go at each other's throats, but at the end of the day, I'm looking up at the government and what they're doing. He's not saying we need solidarity and unity with the Proud Boys and BLM. He's saying these two groups are a result of the divisiveness that this country has caused on us attacking each other, and this is why we need to focus on who's doing this, and the same thing that Alex Rubinstein was basically saying, like, these people aren't your enemies. Your enemy are the people at the top manipulating this for their own purposes. So it's fucking ridiculous. This is disgusting. It is so bad. Johnny, do you have anything to say on this?
I'm going to try and contact them for why they got her name wrong.
Yeah, they forgot the Convo Couch. And we're not really, I mean, we're not really a podcast. I mean,
no, we're not a podcast.
We're not a podcast. So
We're an independent media news channel.
yeah, and we do journalism too.
Which they're
so
faking.
Yeah, and they neglected to give us the proper titles. But that's fine. I mean, they're gonna do this the way they're gonna do it to diminish what we do. Yeah. No, if we were, we always say that, like, we're like our own thing, but we really, a podcast is more of like, it's formatted differently. They don't know what they're talking about. That doesn't really offend me as much as them trying to tie us to Movement for the People's Party, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Johnny. Like, what do you think this shows about? Oh, okay. What do you think possibly this shows about the mainstream media and how they're?
What's that?
What do you think this shows about the mainstream media? Like, do you think they're threatened?
I mean, I don't know if they're always threatening. I just think they're just doing what they're normally going to do, and that's constantly just smear people. They have bigger reach, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't go into the nuance of things. They're just going to read what's on the surface. So immediately they hear something bad about Pasta Jardula or Fiorella on the Convo Couch, who they're tied to. Like you said, it's just the way they do these things, and that, they just tie people and they try to just frame, smear, whatnot. Everything's tied to this. Everything's tied to that. These are bad. And this whole kind of mentality that anything on the right is just awful. You know what I'm saying? That's the people they're reaching. They're reaching that low-hanging fruit of people who are just going to think anything that's conservative is going to be bad. It's going to be awful, and tying us to them. And that's what's in the title. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're flirting with the right, it said,
right,
and whatnot. So, I mean, this article is a deep article. It gets into more stuff about the deep state, more stuff about QAnon.
Yeah, it just continuously talks about QAnon, and it actually gives credibility. This is interesting. To Hassan Piker, who always ties everything to QAnon. Like, everything that isn't TYT approved, it gets tied to QAnon. And it's like, I called out Hassan Piker when he was trying to say, going at Aaron Matei on with Matt Taibbi and Katie Halper, like, because he was saying, at least QAnon is at its center, it's the fact that people don't trust the government because the government lies to them. But Russiagate, there was nothing like there. Like, it's been proven. We've had neo-McCarthyism forever. Like, and so they twisted that to say that he believes that QAnon is so credible, and that's not what he was saying. And so they're mentioning that here. They're mentioning that everything's tied to QAnon. It's honestly, like, it's crazy, right? Like, the TrueAnon podcast too.
Yeah.
That
I was just gonna say that whole kind of like mentality that anytime you say anything like elites or oligarchs, that you're spreading conspiracy theories and whatnot. It's obviously the person who wrote this is shilling and capitulating for his bosses, and his bosses want them to set a certain tone, a certain narrative out there that's against us. So, I mean, I'm wearing this like a badge of honor, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. This time the Daily Beast mentioned our name. Remember, like a year and a half ago when they wrote an article, they just said they didn't mention our name.
No,
they just mentioned that Niko was here, and they really tied him to Pizzagate,
Yeah.
And
and also, let's just put it out there. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein is real. Jeffrey Epstein, his death, I mean, if you want to be really careful here, his death was extremely suspect. If you want to be real, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. And we can talk about, Ghislaine Maxwell, and we can talk about how that is a pedophile ring. That was pedophilia. We can talk about Hollywood and all the accusations that have come out from child stars and a bunch of people, and all of these directors and producers that have been disgusting and found to have involvement with underage children, etc. Like, that's all real. So they're trying to paint it like this is like what we're talking about is fake. And well,
you got a picture of Alexander Reed Ross over here? Look at this guy. Anarcho MSNBCer.
Anarcho MSNBCer. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm so sorry, but
him.
Antifa ideologue. He/him. Hey,
like Antifa ideologue. He won't have the balls to get out there with Antifa.
Yeah.
Like you wish you would, asshole.
And this is what irritates me now is like all the people that I see like blatantly saying, oh, hashtag I'm Antifa, he, him, she, her, they, them, like they, like, and ooh, BLM, like all these people who are stating that they're that literally put out shit like this. Like it's fucking disgusting. Like you're not an anarcho anything. You're a state stenographer. You're a paid propagandist. Ooh. You are a shill for the establishment. And yes, for the 1% that exist, because they're real, they exist, and they do have their interests completely run and attained to and paid attention to by the politicians. Duh, because our system is our country is a corporation that is pretty much a giant military army that just occupies all these countries all over the world. And this guy, he has the audacity to think he's a journalist. You're not a fucking journalist. Yeah. Shut the hell up. This is disgusting.
I love this part of here. All this comes at a time when conspiratorial thinking seems to be on the rise across political ideologies. One reliable area of overlap between the far left and QAnon types is the question of Jeffrey Epstein's death and the conspiracy of deep state involvement, along with the conviction that Hollywood and political elites are running pedophile rings that power that be is that word tactically?
Yeah.
Condone or even participate in.
Oh, sorry, I didn't look at it. Tacitly,
Thank you. See, Johnny's here to get us, but I mean, come on. Like, I mean, and that's the thing, like, I know they've blown shit up overboard to make it act like, all of Hollywood's involved, and we know that's not true and stuff like that. But there have been connections with people that you can't question. I mean, you have to question it, excuse me. If you don't question it, you're saying, what the hell is going on? Look at Epstein's connections, Look where he got his money from. Look at the people that were on that plane. Those logs don't lie.
Yeah.
And it's okay to question that and stuff, but now they're trying to get to a point, they're trying to walk this back.
Well,
Too
they're
much
trying
shit
to
got
say
out.
you can't question it now, or you're a conspiracy theorist.
If you question it.
And if you mention anything positive regarding Russia or the truth about the Syrian chemical attacks, you're a Russian asset. You work for Russian media. You're an Assadist. You're like all of these things, and these people also smear Tulsi Gabbard during this past 2020 run too, consistently.
Yeah, they went after Matt Taibbi too.
Matt Taibbi as well. I was just gonna say because. He said the underlying thought that it's a coalition of trumpets who are taking on these elites who want to take over the rest of society. There's a core of like emotional truth animating the QAnon theory. This is what I was talking about, that one of those idiots clipped up and tried to frame, Matt Taibbi and Aaron Matei for saying like, oh, that they believe in QAnon, even though they're just saying like that there's a emotional truth is that there are people who do control. There is a deep state. Like Glenn Greenwald also wrote a great article explaining what it was, that this has been a thing for a while. You just have to specify what you're talking about. And they're framing this like it's some sort of like, QAnon conspiracy theory. This existed before QAnon. People were talking about the deep state before QAnon. Like like, where do you think they got it from? Come on. You guys are, this is like.
It's just weird too as well. It's almost kind of like the Netflix Jeffrey Epstein show. They try to make it like Jeffrey Epstein was one bad apple, and that's what you wanted to think. He's just a bad apple, whatnot. When even Lee Camp was like did his little segment on this. They're not talking about the fact that this is an underground network of people working together to be involved and profit off of pedophilia. They're using children as currency, and you can't get away from that because there's been countless of people coming out. There's girls who've never been seen ever again, fam.
Yeah.
What they did inside. We don't even know where they are at and stuff. And you can try to move away from the Jeffrey Epstein thing all you want, but his connections were there. I mean, the fact that even Bill Gates is doing stuff when he took money from Epstein, it's just like, hello, I'm not going to take his vaccine. I'm sorry.
Oh, God. No. They're going to clip this.
No, thank you. Sorry.
But it's just, I don't even know what else to say. I mean, and they even go after Chapo Trap House, like I said, with the interview with the True Anon podcasters. I mean, this is, guys, like, we live in a cartoon. We live in a system where ever encroaching fascism. Okay. Yeah. Like there is literal fascism coming through this national security state, through the stenographers, these people that get paid to write smear pieces against people who are actually telling the truth, because they want people to believe that we are liars and conspiratorial entities, instead of actually doing the research that We debunked the Syrian chemical attacks were debunked a long time ago by the OPCW.
Yeah.
The Russiagate was debunked I don't know how many times by so many people, and they didn't find anything. These 17 intelligence agencies didn't find anything.
No, fam, they found something. They found a troll farm in Russia that released about 75% of the ones that they talked about were released after the election anyways and stuff like that. But they had a Bernie Sanders with Jesus going like this, right?
Yeah, and that convinced me
just changed
to vote Bernie
everybody's
Sanders.
mind. But you know what? They didn't even concentrate on the Cambridge Analytica thing, and now Cambridge Analytica's back in the whole picture, and they're actually working more with the Democratic Party, it seems, in certain situations, or just establishment characters. And I got to read this what Cultist Demon says right over here. We need to reach out, and thank you for the super ray, by the way, Cultist Demon. We need to reach out to conservative people, but we need to be cautious in our dealings with right-wing activists peddling New World Order conspiracies and the Fed. Get off the grid and other stupid nonsense. Let's not indulge their ignorance or even in some cases delusions. All right, I like to say something about this right now. At what point do we discuss things and we can't discuss things, or we shouldn't discuss things, or what's going too far and stuff? Because what you talked about here, New World Order conspiracies. Well, I don't think it's just New World Order conspiracies, but what about the Great Reset? I mean, that's something that kind of plays into like this
the
whole
Great
group of
Reset
people
is
trying
real.
to, so I don't know if it's necessarily New World Order, but there's like an entity like that or something, and I don't necessarily buy into it. And the Fed. The Fed's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want me to tell you? The Fed is awful and stuff. And once again, all our money should be made in-house, by the government. As far as our currency, it shouldn't be a separate entity that we just look at. We don't even freaking look at their books and stuff. We don't even audit them. Get off the grid and other stupid nonsense. Well, what does get off the grid necessarily mean? Are we talking about the electric grid? Are we talking about the internet grid?
Yeah.
What are we talking? I mean, I'm not going to indulge in their ignorance and stuff, but
I don't think saying get off the grid is ignorant. I think the reason people want to get off the grid is because they don't trust the government and because the government has failed them. If the government were working perfectly well for the people, do you think that people would be talking about getting off the grid or would even be talking about conspiracies that are actual conspiracies? No, they wouldn't, because they wouldn't have a reason to. That was the whole point of the discussion too with that Matt Taibbi or Mate and all that, because that is the point. Like, if we don't understand that people, the more you lie to the American people, the more you don't tell them the truth, you gaslight them, you censor them, they're gonna start saying like, what's going on? And if they don't have the facts laid out before them and haven't done the research, yes, they're gonna start creating stories or listening to what somebody else says that gives them an outline of what is the truth. And that's why it exists. And so we need to not get mad at people so much for believing in these things, as why they're believing in it and how do we actually get the truth out there and support people telling the truth so we can avoid people falling prey to things like QAnon, which was a psyop, and so we can avoid people falling prey to things like Russiagate, which was another psyop of its own kind. And I don't think, I think living off the grid too comes with like this sort of anarchist point of view. Like, the government isn't doing anything for us, so we might as well like stay away. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I think if the government fails, that's what people are going to do. That's what and I don't think that's necessarily the best course for peace right now or anything like that. But I mean, that's where it's coming from, right?
Yeah. Well, if you don't tell the people the truth and you constantly lie to them, they're going to go out and seek for their own truth, and who knows what they're going to run into. And I always believe there's partial truths and some bullshit, and some bullshit and some truth. So I mean, it can go either way. It's like I don't think it's that far off. I mean, once again, I don't think they're like taking Uyghurs and producing them for adrenochrome and shipping it out to Paris Hilton to use and stuff like that. But I mean, you start. I mean, but that's where this shit goes when they start talking with this stuff. It goes to this level of like what's going on. However, I do believe there are not just a group of people who sit in the room, but I do believe there are a group of elites that kind of control things and do pull strings. And
the powerful, right? The powerful, the people who have money and power, they're in control. That's a fact. I mean, you can see it by the way the world is set up, especially here in the United States.
Yeah. By the way, 118 people watching on Rokfin. That is so friggin' awesome, guys. We love you. Thank you so much. There was about 400 people on the YouTubes, I think. There's 415. Get over to the Rokfin, Rokfin. Help us out. Sign up. Let's fight back against censorship. Heather, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Jimmy Dore and Max Blumenthal had a great conversation about that reporter. That's where you heard him. He's a sleaze. Jimmy had a hilarious response to him. Remember, Jimmy blacked out his name, but then Max said his name anyways.
Okay, so, I wonder why they're writing a freaking smear piece,
a book
on Jimmy
smear
Dore.
Book.
I'm surprised the Gray Zone, maybe the Gray Zone one's coming after.
Angel Santos, thank you so much for the Super Ray. It's always appreciated on the couch. We're in deep shit. What a great name. We're in deep shit. Thank you for the Super Ray.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, I know we are and stuff. All cultist team, and the whole concept of there is not left versus right is ignorant as fuck. These people need to be educated.
Okay, well, see, I think there is a difference between the left and the right, for sure. But I don't think that's the main difference. I think the difference right now is a class struggle. Obviously, I have a different point of view than a person like Jack Sobiak when it comes to immigration, race, the police system, all these things. But at the same time, I also think that my enemy right now are the people that are dividing us up and trying to get us to focus on a left-right paradigm more than the class paradigm. There is a difference. Nobody's saying that, we're going to unite with Proud Boys and everything's going to be okay. I don't think that's that people are talking about. People are talking about actually finding not that those groups are going to find common ground with us, but more so like the groups of people who are politically homeless, who are independent, who are more sick and tired of wasting money on war, who don't really necessarily might know a lot or agree with a lot of the things I agree with, but they are going to at least see the class struggle. Once we have that class struggle and we overcome the control and demand and get what we demand, because we need power. Like we're not going to have power if we don't demand it. They're not going to give you power. Then you can have a system where you battle the ideology, where you battle the ability to say, hey, this is wrong, this is right. Then you can have that whole aspect against people. Yeah. But right now, we don't even have a fair playing field to even have those discussions. That's why I focus more on the top-down struggle than the left-right. I mean, I think the Democrat-Republican isn't even a left-right representation. They're a right-right representation. So honestly, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I mean, I'll go a step further, Bland fam. I believe those people who are so on opposite ends of the spectrums in the streets out there, or any of the people we've seen out there, there's still common ground on things they'll reach. They'll say, okay, yeah, I agree on this. We shouldn't be doing this. And a lot of that has to come with war when it comes to invading other countries and comes to bombing in other countries. Once again, we say like we're very compassionate. We don't want to see people die and stuff. But the whole sense that, hey, we're wasting money on those people over there and stuff. And like, well, I don't want that either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, let's do that. Let's tell our government, Republicans and Democrats, to stop bombing countries, to stop wasting all this money in those countries. Whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, the result is still the same. We don't want the imperialism to go on. Now, I don't want the imperialism to go on because I think it's disgusting that we bomb people left and right. And I think a lot of conservatives are starting to realize, like, hey, man, you want a wall, you want all this shit. Well, guess what the number one cause of immigration is? It's called invasion. It's called war. You know what I'm saying? When you terrorize a country and it's a war-torn country, they're going to leave that country. And in the global south, they'll come here. So, I mean, I even think there's, like, different types of like agreements with those people that we can even find that we are so totally definitely against. I mean, when I had this conversation too the other day with that gentleman, we were talking about global warming and stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's like we disagree, but they're saying, well, it's not that we don't believe in it. We believe that they're alarmists. They're elevating it too much. Well, can we agree that water and oil don't mix? Okay. So let's stop fracking. I mean, we got to find the things. We got to have the conversations. And here's the thing. People are tribal as far as where they go and stuff like that, but if you went to them on every single issue, you're never going to find the same matching people. In other words, they might think this on that or this on that, and they'll be different on this.
Even people that we're friends with and we're close to, we don't agree on every single thing. Like, you're never going to find somebody that agrees. I mean, you might find one person or a couple people, but it's going to be really rare that you find somebody that agrees with you 100% on every single little
exactly
thing. Like, it's just not going to happen, right? And there has to be that diversity of ideas. Now, there are things I think that the left will not fold on, and that's healthcare for all. And that is some sort of reining in on the climate and some sort of economic, wage. I think that's something that those are hardliners, I think, when it comes to the left versus the right.
All right, let me get through these quick super rays. Angel Santos says, the Convo Couch, my favorite channel. Well, Bernie is so outraged and always never used his leverage. Grassroots movement, they paid for you to represent us. And you don't want to be compared to Ralph Nader. Go home and have a good life with your family while your friend Joe does the corporation's bidding.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And last but not least, before we bring on our awesome guests,
Bulls on Parade.
Bulls on Parade, that's a great name too, by the way. When you only discuss your policy or opinion with people that you already agree with you, it shows your argument is weak. And that's the truth too as well, because if we stay in our own echo chamber and we don't talk to people who think differently than us, how are we going to ever move the ball? Reeve Barker, thank you so much for the super ray. Blumenthal said on Jimmy's show that this author gets into legal trouble when he writes smear pieces like this. Does this meet that criteria?
Johnny's questioning it, maybe.
Maybe. Ryan Oscoyle, MSM journalists hate you because you represent what they could have been had their idealism not been choked out of them by expensive colleges. Sam, can you read that last one?
Rokfin Czar. Fake progressives love these hit pieces on people like you, Jimmy Dore and Niko House. They call us fascists, but have no problem voting for Joe Biden, pushing war and smearing Assange. Cenk Uygur is telling progressives to vote for Biden in 2024. What a corporate shill. Oh, God, don't get me started on Cenk Uygur.
Thank you so much, James Boyajan. We also received a tip from him. And I just want to say thank you to Kimberly S. You the bomb. And not the green kind. Love you. Hey, listen, don't make fun of Liz Warren. She's got nothing to, she's not here to defend herself.
Poor Liz.
Poor Liz. I think that's all of them for now. Let's get our guest in here and stuff like that. We brought a guest on for you today, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to shower you with laughter and love. I'm like using the shower word right now and stuff like this since we're talking about showers. She is like the Reggie Jackson of the Jimmy Dore Show. She is the straw that stirs the drink. She keeps it all together. Okay? That's what Reggie used to say. I'm just the straw that stirs the drink. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Zamorano's here.
All right. Hello, you two. How nice to be here. How nice to see my friends that live like around the block and we still have to be separated by miles.
I love that red curtain behind you. It's nice.
Thank you. Thank you for noticing it. Listen, you were talking about you don't want to be, and if I get lipstick on my teeth, God, I wanted to put lipstick on, and it's a hazard.
I feel you, Steph. I'll let you know.
So, I'm tired. I know you were talking about that. Fee mentioned that, we have friends that we're not in lockstep with everything, and I'm like, I'm done not being in lockstep. I mean, it's so nice that really, I'm just like, I glaze over when I talk to a friend that we've been friends for over 30 years, yikes. And she says, isn't it great Biden's in office? Isn't it great Biden's in office? Isn't it great? And I'm like, well, he's probably going to dismantle Social Security and we're never going to get Medicare for all. And she goes, he's not going to do that. He's not good. And I'm like, no, that he's gone on record for 40 years saying how he wants to dismantle it. He's not going to do it. Yeah. How do I know he's not going to do it? How do I know it? Is anybody fighting for the working class? And my friend, they're artists, and they're in the union. They're in the Actors Guild, Screen Actors Guild. And the Screen Actors Guild, when Hollywood shut down, they changed the terms of their retirement. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're not panicked? You're not looking at your husband's income and your income, and you're not saying, hey, we might not make that cut by next summer? I mean, I don't understand how any American isn't up in arms over the lack of health care. I don't understand. You don't just need your body. You need your vision. You need your hearing. You need your dental. Mm-hmm. Come on. You need all of those things. And I'm mostly I cannot get over. I really don't want to have conversations to have to convince my intelligent friends what is going on. I such sweet friends, such deep. Well, how do you feel about AOC? How do I feel about AOC? What has AOC accomplished?
I mean,
she's a good video game player, right? Like I heard her in a song.
Come on, she's cute. She's got a nice rack, and everybody's like, "Oh, she's Latina. What could go wrong?" Well, we did have a black president, and things went wrong. We tortured some folks.
Yeah,
we tortured some folks. I think that's heinous. I think the idea that he could say that in public, we tortured some folks. And that in itself isn't the first piece of copy in the history books under Obama's presidency. I don't know if I have the patience anymore. You know what? It really turns out I don't. I'm not really talking to a lot of people.
No. We share your frustrations. I was talking to some friends of mine the other day, just intelligent, smart people that I love them. And just, it's like I don't even try to push back on their conversations. I just get that kind of, sure, and stuff. And isn't it so much, isn't it just a breath of fresh air, Steph, that Joe Biden's in office right now, and we have now a diverse cabinet, like General Lloyd Austin, the first man of color to be the Secretary of Defense? Isn't that awesome? And I'm just sitting there going...
Isn't there Xavier Becerra, too, from L.A.? Isn't he the first Mexican? Viva!
Aren't you happy you're represented, Steph?
So, you know what? I love being represented by a Mexican man.
Yeah.
I like it.
You don't like being represented by an Irishman? Oh, please.
Oh, you know what? I think the whole I was trying, I know we're in the pandemic, and wherever you are on that spectrum of what you trust is happening or whatever, but we're in a pandemic, and that when we were doing Force the Vote for Medicare for All, the blowback that we got for championing something so critical right now for all of our neighbors. This is, my community, my city, my state. And that was a real bitter pill, where it really, it was like a litmus test of who you can rely on.
Yeah. Yeah. It exposed.
And it's a painful test.
It exposed so many people, and, do you want to ask her?
Well, we just want to ask first things first. How's Brownie?
Brownie is walking around. He was in his bag. I might have to grab him in a second. He was sleeping in his bag. I'm like, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee, put him in his bed. He won't care. And he's like, hey, where are you going? I'm like, So he's wandering around right now. He's going to bark at me soon. He's great. What was the other thing you're going to ask me? Were you going to asking me about that new article?
Yeah, well, we can talk a little bit about the article. We said, I'm sure you saw it.
Only because you sent it to me. Only because you sent it to me.
I did send it to you because it got sent to us this morning, whatnot. But I think the theme about it that they're really trying to push back on is the fact that anybody talks about any unity when it comes to people who have different political ideologies, the common man, the working man, or the common person, excuse me, they're going to get beat back, and be made to be looked at as like people who sympathize with fascists or Nazis or anything like that, and obviously it mentioned a lot of Jimmy, what was going on, and the fact that he brought somebody on. We brought that same guest on, and that person is actually joining us at the Fuck Censorship protest and stuff. But we want to talk about just how we have to keep an eye on the oligarchy, the political elites. Those are the ones who are really keeping us divided.
But you can't say that, Pasta. You can't use the word elite, or you're a conspiracy theorist now, right? Yeah. They don't want you to talk about the people who have the most money and power, because look who sits on the board of the Daily Beast. I don't know, Steph. Your thoughts on this ridiculous article?
Well, okay. Well, what I understand, Alexander Reed Ross. First, he has 3 names, so very important.
3 first names
already. All right, and so I understand after reading the article. Really, I didn't read it. Really, I glazed through it. I glazed over, right? And I was like, could you name more names about somebody who met with somebody, talked to somebody? Don't give me the source of that somebody, but tell me some more bull about it. And so now I think I read this. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and follow the journalistic integrity of Alexander Reed Ross. But I understand that Alexander Reed Ross once read a book about Nazis.
Oh, shit.
And now you know who's a Nazi.
Oh.
Right? Am I wrong, Droner? and then you know, what did you say? I just think if this is a hard-hitting article that the Daily Beast was working on, and that somebody like printed it, and it's like, oh my God, is this? I think it's like a piece for the Onion.
Yeah, or the Enquirer.
Well, the National Enquirer.
I mean, he obviously needs money. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Yeah. I mean, because the whole thing, oh my God, somebody paid for that article. He's gifted. He's gifted writer. He sold that shit. He's a gifted writer. I don't know how anybody could do that. He's controlled opposition, and it's weak sauce. People, and then it's so funny watching the people say, what a fantastic article. Oh, who is Smug Sherp? Oh, Smug Sherp has 3 followers. Oh, okay, Smug Sherp. You really like his article.
Steph, you're funny.
I kind of think, you know, we obviously, all of us obviously are doing something right.
Yes.
Because of this organized pushback on all of us. Yep. And they're just gonna take us off one by one. And the problem is our voice is too strong. The collective us is too strong. They're going to find us. You know, we are going to find our tribe, if you will. You know, you are going to find that collective group. We have found them. We share them. You know, our audience is shared by us, you know, and I think the idea is I mean, that we're all guilty by association by thinking differently. Yeah, I am. I'm guilty. I'm guilty thinking and not in lockstep with the mainstream media. I'm so relieved that I don't have the same talking points as Brian Williams does. Or, you know, all of them, they're all slathering. They can't wait to talk about the royal debacle they can't wait to talk about Oprah. They can't wait. And I was like, well, holy shitstorm, Oprah. This is the one that you're breaking, not the despair and tragedy that Americans have existed under for a year. Yeah. This is a year. This is when we were all together. I saw you this time last year at our wedding. This is the day. This is our anniversary, folks.
Yeah. And wow, could you and Jimmy dance? Let me just tell you that much. I was like, I was moving by, get out the way over there. And isn't it crazy that was like the last thing that all of a sudden the COVID hit? Now we're all just like grounded, but we have that one last beautiful, fun memory. I just wish I would have danced more. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that we were going to be, I would have probably danced until I passed out going back and everything.
Yeah. So you have that to look forward to. You know, the next time, everybody should get a heads up that the next time Pasta goes on an event, he is going to drink and pass out. Yeah. He's committing to that. Well, like all of us.
I almost did that the other day, Fiorella's birthday. I was doing Gundam Style by Psy, and I halfway through my heart started beating. I went too fast, too hard, and I'm like, okay.
I have videos.
We have videos, and you can share it out there. But let's talk about this for a second, Steph, because it's kind of funny, because I went back and I watched your old video when you, Jimmy, and Ron were together in the studio talking about the Alex Jones being deplatformed. We also all went down to the Hermosa Beach show, which you guys did this extensive talk about censorship. And it's so crazy, because I'm thinking about everything that's going on today, how it related to back then, when a lot of us were saying, oh my God, Jimmy was out there talking about censorship. Me, I don't know if you know this, I'm a civil liberties guy. So I've always been talking about censorship and our civil liberties and stuff and how important it is. But right now it's hitting us right in the face. And I don't think people realize how dangerous it is. Here's Dr. Naomi Wolf, back on Twitter after a second suspension for this time. 1 week. I read Twitter's rules. I haven't violated anything. Glad to be talking to about 100,000 people who want to talk to me, but shaken that the peaceful adult journalist was treated like a 4-year-old and placed in the corner. This is conditioning. And are you concerned, Steph? I mean, I know you do a lot of things over there, whatnot, and you're always keeping your eyes out and open up. Are you concerned that at the Jimmy Dore show, you guys could be possibly next?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any security for any platform that's not in lockstep with how they want us to think. I don't think, that we can, it's weird that being a teacher and that here we are facing real censorship. I mean, that everybody's head didn't explode when they censored Donald Trump from Twitter.
Yeah.
That you go, oh, wait a minute. He's the president of the United States and they're banishing him.
People cheered for that.
That is the long-term consequences are it's going to happen to any of us.
Yeah.
It just foreshadows what kind of country we're living in, and that in a time where you should have diverse thinking, that you should allow people with, a different point of view. What we can't figure it out ourselves.
Yeah.
We're so easily duped.
Yeah. You're so dumb that you can't figure it out. That's what they think. And they also say that, well, the Facebook, Google, YouTube, they're private companies. They have the right to do what they want. So what do you think of that when they say that Facebook, Google, and YouTube, well, since they're private companies, they have the right to shut out whoever they want? Do you think that's even...
I mean, isn't that just even awful that you have to say that out loud? That you are communicating what actually is happening, that they, have complete control. That, I mean, can you imagine Kamala Harris one day being president and Mark Zuckerberg saying, I want her off of Facebook. And, Twitter goes, you know what? She's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why couldn't it happen that way? And people aren't outraged. It's that whole thing that everybody wanted to deplatform Alex Jones. There are laws. There's a legal system.
Mm-hmm.
And if he perpetuated harassment on people, I'm sure there's a court of law that would be able to prosecute him justly. And so these social media platforms, I mean, God, I hate Facebook.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, every time they've changed it, I go back and I go, oh, this is awful. And then somebody goes, hey, there, like I say that I have messages like, why would I go? I don't go to Facebook. It's awful. It's the devil's world. I like Twitter because it's kind of this playground. And I think people who get upset and like say shitty things to me or anything like that. And I think I'm like, listen, Elephant Head 877, you need a hug. I mean, a lot of times that's what I end up saying. It sounds like somebody needs a hug and read a book with logic and facts. So I think, the whole thing, we know from experience, we've had, stuff taken down on YouTube, about a year ago, or one of our last tours, in San Jose, we did this video and it was killing it. Our editor stayed up that night. We produced the video on live stage and then he turned it around and we dropped it. And it was one of the fastest moving videos ever that we had. And it was exciting. And all of a sudden it was done. It was gone.
Yeah.
And somebody randomly was allowed to put a false claim on that video. Yeah. And of course it takes a lot of time and there's money lost. Listen, that there's this money-making element to YouTube is crazy. And we all tried to seize that opportunity the best that we could. But now we have to rely on other platforms. And thank goodness Rokfin exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, seriously. Without Rokfin, we'd be shit out of luck, being demonetized
This
completely.
channel right here. Come
like, it's just like, you know, and we'll still we'll still stream on YouTube so people get the information.
Yes.
But it really irritates the hell out of me that they put their own ads and their own monetization so they can make money out of us. And it's just so irritating. They're robbing us. All of us. They're every single one of us. And, you know, we're not the only ones that were censored. There's a bunch of people that have been censored or demonetized. And the more and more you're seeing like the gray zone marked like Russia affiliated or like gotten this by hacking. You're seeing people marked as QAnon when they didn't even mention QAnon on YouTube. You're seeing this. We get the election was what is it?
The election was called by the AP and Brian Williams talking about the beauty of our elections.
When we're not even mentioning the election.
Give me 1 second. I got to go grab my dog. He's throwing a fit.
Brownie.
I'm sorry, Brownie.
Steph is so funny.
Steph
She's
is
so
hilarious.
great.
I love
Her
it.
stand-up was just that's what really sucks also too about the whole COVID situation. You know, obviously Jimmy was a seasoned comedian for a while, and Steph would do a lot of stand-up at the live shows. Her and Ron always, when we'd see them, they'd open up, and her shit was just growing and growing and growing.
It's great.
And really, when I made the comment about her being the straw that stirs the drink, that's an old Reggie Jackson saying, because they were talking about what's your role here, and she's just the straw that stirs the drink. I just loved seeing Steph out there working the crowd before the shows. We're talking about your comedy. Like, everybody's like, oh, Jimmy's the great comedian from such a long time.
He is.
I've been watching, we would go into your live shows up until the COVID started for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. In fact, when we made the decision to have the Convo Couch, it was at a Jimmy Dore show, the one you had Rokfin on stage, and then the sane progressive went crazy the next day, but I guess she was right about Ro. But just seeing you work the crowd and doing your stand-up and how you were just growing as a comedian too as well. It's like, you're so funny and you're so awesome. Don't you miss those days? I mean, I know I don't want to rub it in. I'm sure you guys do. I mean, it must be killing Jimmy right now.
Well,
so.
yes. I mean, yes. It was March 1st. So the thing that the tour does is it provides that artistic balance and live performance for somebody who's been on the road for over, 25 years, Jimmy Dore.
Mm-hmm.
And so talking to a camera is a real foreign, you don't get that thing back. That's, that's why it's lucky that we work together and that we live together, that I can be his audience when, he's in it, because you know how lonely it can be, like it's just a weird experience. So March 1st, we were in Miami a year ago. We were in Miami. And when we were flying back, the guy beside me was covered in a hood and a white coat, everything from head to toe. And I was like, oh, huh. And I was like, excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom, like being really nice. But, that was a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's been painful. And then we did recently a couple live shows on Zoom. And we did a brown paper ticket show New Year's Eve. We've never received our money from brown paper tickets for both shows.
Really? Wow.
And they said, oh, we're really backed up. Well, today is what? March 8th?
Yeah.
And that was a New Year's Eve show.
Wow. That's
ridiculous. And so somebody sent me an article that the Canadian brown paper tickets were having issues paying their people. So do we miss the live shows? Yes, we miss the live shows, but we're creating a show right now, and we're working on a game show so we can be jackasses on Zoom and have fun.
Yeah, no, the game shows are fun. We've done it several times on Rokfin. We've had Ron on and Graham and Kim Iversen. Yeah, it's a hoot. And I always win. Just like you, Steph. I heard you always win too. So
I have a strange competitive streak. But on current events, everybody could kill me on current events. It's just like I sneak in the last game with Jimmy, and it was tons of fun with the political vigilante and Ron. Yeah. They were co-hosting their game show together. So those are great. And doing comedy, I remember like not wanting to do a Zoom comedy show, just going, this is weird. And then you know what? I usually have a cocktail, maybe get high, relax, and enjoy the show. And just like I'm able to have fun. Like I'm doing a friend, Dana Eagle. I'm doing her show this Friday night at Flappers, and she does a game show in it. Where so her concept of her show is like she has a theme every show, and her concept this week will be Hitler jokes.
Oh, jeez. Really? You know,
Steph.
they just wrote an article,
Come on,
Steph.
Steph.
What are you doing over
What are you doing? Wait, let's get more people angry at you because we want to get your thoughts on Bernie Sanders as of today. You know, he's now forcing the vote on the $15 minimum wage. Sorry. And you know, he voted for the CARES Act. He did it. He stand up to his friend Joe Biden. He hasn't really produced as much as he alleged in the beginning. We were all Bernie supporters at one time. We all supported him for the presidency, and then 2020 came and the campaign completely changed. What is your opinion on Bernie as of now, as to how he stands in this movement?
Remember when I was at the Young Turks, because Bernie Sanders was going to be a guest there, and we were out of our minds so thrilled. And so when Bernie Sanders walked in at 2016, he walked through the studio and everybody was very like reserved and quiet, and I was sitting there, and then he did this interview and he's coming out and everybody's like, all the studio was there and everybody's like there, and like everybody's like reserved and quiet. I'm like, I'm a Latina and I love Bernie. And he gave me a hug. I let him touch me. And, you know, I was really excited about Bernie's, you know, he would start every rally with, is it time for a revolution? Is he starting that? Does he say anything about a revolution anymore?
No.
You know, because that kind of language in this decade is dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And how do I feel about Bernie Sanders? The love has faded.
Yeah.
The visionary that I thought he was, it's present. Maybe at their core, maybe all these people at their core are really good people. But I don't know how you can campaign on things and then bow out all the time. How can you campaign and then suggest I vote for Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
How can you campaign, you know, on Medicare for all and then say Joe Biden isn't going to go for it? We're not going to push him on it. You're not going to push Joe Biden. I don't want to. You're not going to push Joe Biden. Why? Why is he delicate? Why? You're not pushing Joe Biden about Medicare for all, and we know why. Because the power structure doesn't want it. They're not giving it to the people. It's all the power structure. So they're not going to fight the fight. And then they were telling us all the baloney. AOC was saying, well, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to use our leverage on $15
an hour.
Oh, really? Oh. We already had the leverage. We've already said that was a done deal. Yeah. Stop acting like this is something that you're doing.
Yeah.
This isn't something you're doing. You didn't do anything. Didn't Biden already sign something in January for it?
Yeah.
Something like January 12th, he signed something for $15. And gosh, that we're even talking about $15. How cruel. How cruel.
Well, it seems like the Democratic Party is a graveyard for progressive ideas or progressive policies. So what are your thoughts on Nina Turner not only defending the squad, saying they're using a tactic, there's, you know what I'm saying?
You don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, blah, 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 even though we're moving backwards and more people are ending up on the streets and in poverty and can't pay their bills. What are your thoughts about not only her defending the squad in that situation, but more on her thoughts of her trying to run as a Democrat, that same old BS that, I'm going to go in and reform the party from the inside crap?
Well, Fee and Pasta, I don't think you really understand the challenges that are facing these women of color who have been so heroic in just accepting a position of influence and power, and then tweeting about all their Twitter is almost like their policy dream that they never ever plan on fulfilling. And I have to say straight out, because I've been saying it for a while, I'm never giving my money to a Democrat.
Yay. Amen.
I'm never giving my money to a Republican. I've done that. I'm not ashamed that I did it. I'm not regretful that I believed in the policies that these people were they were saying that that's their platform. I'm not going to regret that. But my gosh, if you are my lover, you're fucking me. You are bending me over and fucking me, and I'm not orgasming at all.
Exactly.
I'm left.
You're not
with
enjoying it.
No, I'm not enjoying it. I don't. And I don't want your children, Democratic Party. I don't want to bear your children. All right, because your children are going to just be enslaved by your policies. And gosh, watching us, I've met Nina Turner in person, and I bought her book and gave it to my mom. And Nina Turner, when I was speaking with her, I said, I'm Jimmy Dore's wife, and I don't say that a lot. It's true, but I don't say it, I like people guessing. And she said, oh, Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore says things that I can't say.
I remember.
So she loves Jimmy Dore. We had interviews with her when Jimmy was doing Aggressive Progressive, but she's not been available. And that's okay. That's not a big deal. I don't care. I don't think our show, Jimmy Dore show, our focus was ever about interviews or access. It was about enlightenment. It was about Jimmy has a perspective. Let's acknowledge this. But when I hear somebody say, hey, you know what? I want to let you know right now, I'm going to disappoint you. I'm going to disappoint you. And there is a thing called strategy.
Yeah.
There's a thing called strategy, and that's what we can't tell you oh, really? I don't remember that in 2016 when Bernie and Nina were going around saying, we're ready for a revolution. Let's get this together. I don't remember somebody saying, hey, you know what? But Medicare for all isn't going to happen for another 20 years. Did you know that? Why don't you be a grown up about that? And so as far as I'm concerned, boy, Nina Turner inspires me when she speaks. I want to sit down and, write a speech like that and feel it and bring people together. That's a gift and that is a talent. And I was inspired by her. Unfortunately, I'm not inspired by a Democrat.
Yeah.
And so I can separate my affection for this dynamic woman.
Right.
But I certainly can't separate the idea that somebody's telling me they're defending these elected officials. They're not your little girlfriend. They're not these weak women. They're not vulnerable. They're powerful people that didn't have this power 5 years ago. They have a lot of power now, and they're using all their power on Twitter.
Yep. It's exactly it.
And then on Instagram, I'm going to grate some lemon right now, and I'm going to talk to you that people are mean and some people should be censored. I'm not going to say who, but there are some people, sure, I just worked as a bartender a couple years ago, but I know what things should be done. And the first thing that should be done is deplatforming people. Really? Yeah. Did you think AOC was going to talk about censorship? Did you ever think that she would land on that side of it?
Yeah.
It have been a bit, you know what? I don't have children. Children, but if they were my children, I would be so disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing with AOC, it's just She has the power. You said, all they're doing is being on Twitter. AOC has the power. And this is one of the last questions I want to ask. Like, AOC has the power to do direct action, right? To push direct action, to push protests, to push a strike, to go and do more things like she did the sit-in, right? At Nancy Pelosi's office. More of those things. She has 12.5 or 6 million followers. I don't even know because it increases every single day. And she acts like the force of vote thing was violence against her. She acts like the Capitol riot was the most violent thing ever, but yet she hasn't done anything to provide for the violence and the difficulty. You live in LA. You know what it's like. You know how there's tents everywhere, people everywhere, how $15 doesn't get you anything here, how like the rents are so high, how like a shack costs $1 million here, like you know how bad it is, and yet you have these people chastising us. There's no empathy for AOC. Where's your empathy for the squad? Where's your empathy for us? What do we do then if the electoral system isn't working? We need direct action. We need leaders who are going to go out there, stand in the front lines of the picket lines, and actually push for change outside the electorate, don't we?
Totally agree about that. And they know that to be true. They know that they're not, that we are leaving their support. I mean, like, they know it. They know that people have asked, hey, I donated to your campaign. I'm in dire straits. I need that money back. And as far as AOC talking about violence, the despair that is facing our families, that's violence. And that they had to do the following Monday a tribute to themselves, so we could hear them cry, was I've never, ever read anything like that taking place in Congress. That they're going to give you time in the middle of crisis for Americans, and I have to hear your sad sack story about how you were afraid. People are afraid every day. People are suffering every day. And now DC is caged in. They like cages. They want more cages. And now they want all of the Capitol to stay encaged because they're passing legislation that doesn't help the people. Aren't they trying to push forward legislation to make it harder for third parties to even exist?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about how do I feel about the fraud squad, and I know that's hate speech. How can they handle fraud squad? Do something that has a positive impact on our culture and our society for our children. And they're never, and you know what? If you're a college student and you're watching this, they're never going to give you debt relief. They're never going to give you debt relief. That's too much money. They're never going to give you debt relief. They're going to give you more wars.
Yeah. And we talked about AOC. She could talk about her lemons and how she's grinding. And if you ask her, well, what about Biden bombing Syria? Well, you need to twist the lemon properly when you get it in there.
Zero on Biden bombing Syria.
Nothing crickets.
On Julian Assange.
Nothing.
Except I need to look into it more, etc. Terrible foreign policy.
Yeah. I'll defer the caucus leadership on Venezuela.
We're constantly bombing Syria, or our NATO-backed affiliates are bombing Yemen. They're bombing Palestinians. This is nothing that gets talked about in the progressive movement. Very few people besides yourself, us, and a few others talk about foreign policy or talk about Julian Assange. It's like you can't if we know about it, right? If, like Jimmy says, if a jagoff comedian can talk about Julian Assange and knows more about the foreign policy, then why do we need these people to represent us? What's the point of having them if they're not going to even remotely touch on those topics that directly impact Americans every single day? The millions of dollars that it costs to bomb a country is what we don't have that money for people here.
Oh, strangely enough, Chuck Todd said, I guess on Sunday on his show, that there was greater disagreement between our elected officials than the citizens, because 70% of the citizens want Medicare for all. 70% of the citizens need help now. And that you don't see that composition being represented in Congress. And you can't help but keep looking at all of this and say it's all by design.
Yeah.
It's all by design to undermine the will of the people. It's so they get health care. The people who are elected by the people, they get health care. They get what? How many more millions of dollars are they getting to increase their security at the Capitol?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We are what kind of a surveillance state? We're a surveillance state. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So can somebody explain to me the surveillance state that has been imposed on us since 9/11? Can somebody explain to me how they didn't get the heads up on the group of people that were going to commit this insurrection? Can somebody explain to me where the where CIA and FBI and everybody was? I understand, like, FBI reached out to Capitol Hill Police and said, hey, we understand that you might need, we got this handled. Well, really? The FBI doesn't choose to have a backup plan if this is fucked up?
Yeah.
To me, it's only allowing our elected officials to further subjugate us.
Absolutely.
They're going to take how many more rights? They're going to take away. We can't even do shows on YouTube. They're so fucking scared of us. What exactly is your influence?
Yeah.
So our influence is bigger, broader, and stronger. And so they're going to create every obstacle because they don't want us coming together.
No, exactly.
They want to continue to do these identity politics and separate us.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I will say this. I am probably one of the few prominent Mexican producers on YouTube in this field as a woman, right? And I don't even talk about that because to me, that's like, I'm fortunate where I landed. I'm fortunate, the goals that we had, and this is what we created. But I'm one of the few women of color. And Fee, don't you feel that way? One of the few women of color?
Yeah.
That's doing these shows?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know I am, but it's like, it's never something I lead with.
No.
Right? Like,
I want you.
Yeah.
But they're doing it all the time to us, and they're using these women to be the shields of awful policy that are hurting Americans. And you can't tell me with a straight face or a wonderful video that there's strategy happening.
Yeah.
Because the only strategy I see happening is screwing the American public out of a livelihood. And it's our country can do better, but putting Biden in this position and Kamala Harris, who gets to have the last vote when necessary, how do we think? How are they going to continue to protect her on those votes? How often are we going to see that she doesn't have to make any of these decisions that are critical to the future and consequential to the economy?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this, Steph. We got to get out of here, but I'm 66% Southern Italian, so I know what it's like when you're talking about all that stuff. And I'm not a big fan of the Fraud Squad because they're fake. But Steph, you're for real, and I'm so glad that you, Jimmy has you, because you're an amazing producer. You really are the straw that stirs the drink. Why don't you tell people what you got coming on? That's a Reggie Jackson thing. Tell people what you got coming up, what's going on, not only with the Jimmy Dore show, but with your the stuff that you're doing as well.
For me, I'm trying to enjoy my one life that I know it. And I enjoy doing the Jimmy Dore show. Our schedule is usually Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday, but when news happens, it just happens.
Yeah.
And then I do shows. I'm doing a show this Friday night at Flappers with my good friend Dana Eagle, and I'll post it on Twitter, not on Facebook. I don't do that. And other than that, hopefully we'll start doing more private shows for our subscribers on Rokfin. Nice. So that's what we're working towards,
Love to see that.
That'd be awesome.
Love to see that and stuff, because it really is the Rokfin revolution.
Yes,
We're fighting back against censorship here. That's what it's all about. And,
Rokfin. What a lifesaver for so many of us.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to go out March 18th. Is it March 17th?
March 17th.
March 17th. We're going to go out St. Patty's Day to D.C., even though it's got a bunch of cage flux facilities. We're going out there. We're going to the CNN building. We're going to other places, and we're going to tell them fuck censorship. And we know you over there at the Jimmy Dore Show know what we're talking about. So thank you so much for coming on.
I'm a big fan of the Convo Couch. Great time today. Thank you so much, you two. And Johnny.
Johnny's over there on the ones and two. Thank you, Steph. We love you. We'll see you soon. Remember, Brownie 2024, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it going and stuff. There. Let's end on that. Thank you, Steph. We love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye, guys. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right on back. Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Pasta Jardula.
And Fiorella, fam.
And Johnny Sue on those ones and twos. Fam, that was a fun
that
interview.
was fun. You know, Steph is...
she's the best. Love her.
She's just the energy she brings. It's like very... I don't know. It was it was different type of interview. It was more conversational.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah, no, it was great. I really liked the rapport that we have with Steph. And Brownie is so freaking cute. Okay.
Brownie 2024, babe.
Brownie 2024.
Let's do it. So fam, let's talk about this over here, because this is this big WTF. I think we should remember that song, Shower Me With Your Love.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You never heard that song, Shower? I'm so old. There was a song called Shower Me With Your Love. And that's what Joe Biden's doing. So go ahead, fam. I'll let you.
He's showering us.
Yes.
With, well, you know that there's golden showers, and then I think that's what he was talking about.
Is that what it is?
So
Washington Post.
The Washington Post wrote this ridiculous article, of course.
Look at the title.
Okay, Biden stimulus showers money on Americans, sharply cutting poverty in defining move of presidency. Are you kidding me? This was
bullshit and bullshit.
How do you know, they're the best. They're at writing the worst titles. You know,
yes.
So many times.
They're worse than me.
They've had to retract. Oh, yeah, they're worse than you. They've had to retract. Yours is at least truthful. Theirs is not.
Yeah.
Theirs is. They've had to retract. I don't know how many like articles because of their titles and because of how they're pretty much praising the 1%. And then people wonder why we talk about elites and the oligarchy. Well, you're talking about the Washington Post. Well, it's the Washington Post. who owned it until recently. Jeff Bezos, right? Okay.
Bezos. He still owns it.
And yeah, but he's like stepped down from.
He stepped down from well, the Amazon thing, I think, is, you know, he never really had a say, supposedly, in what happened in WAPO. Not the fact that they had a contract with the CIA for millions of dollars, but this is the reason why we do talk about elites. I mean, look what they're trying to do, and look at the conditioning and the programming in this. Biden showers people with money, Americans, sharply cutting poverty. I mean, that to me, that's the most
and favoring
disgusting.
Individuals over businesses?
Wow. I mean, and that's such bullshit. That's such bullshit. That's such
They're not even favoring, first of all, they're not favoring individuals over businesses.
Wow.
One, they're favoring they're favoring corporations over everybody else. Small businesses are not favored at all. They're getting screwed too. We are getting screwed. The American people are getting screwed. They're not favoring anybody. What did this 1.9 trillion virus relief bill do? Well, it cut back on everything. I just want to point out a couple things on this.
A very trusted source you got here, fam.
Yeah, so this is the AP, the most trusted source in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. And it had so many amendments. It passed by one vote, 50-49 party line. Okay. And they basically said the bill provides direct payments of up to $1,400 for most Americans and extended emergency unemployment benefits. Okay, blah, 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 COVID vaccine and testing, and schools and tax breaks to help lower earning people with families and children, and buying healthcare insurance. So if you have kids, you're going to get more money. If you are an adult dependent, meaning if you're a college student or an elderly person that relies on somebody else to help you, you're also getting some money. And this is what Mitch McConnell said. The Senate has never spent $2 trillion in a more haphazard way. Top priority wasn't pandemic relief; it was their Washington wish list. So again, this part of that is that Democrats and Republicans both, they put in pork of whatever. You know, it's a Trojan horse, so to speak. Like, they put a couple of good things for people, which is not even that great. It's the bare minimum. $1,400 is half of most people's rent here. And then they add a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And
in other words, the crux of the bill is usually something hidden. There's always poison pills, and they'll always highlight the little things they do give people. We're showering people with $1,400, fam, which is less than the last administration gave us. And they don't even want to start arguing in it. Once again, seeing people out there defending the whole $2,000 case, it's disgusting.
By the way, just need to remind you guys, it was initially $600 a week added to the unemployment, and then it was $400. They had negotiated down to $400. Then they negotiated it down again to $300. Yeah. Okay. And you expect people to survive on this crap? You expect people to even have anything met? And the fact is, now this administration has given people less money than the Trump administration did during COVID. That is a fact. Less money, more war. Then I mean, you can argue both are evil, but I mean, it seems to me from these past few month and a half, it's been pretty freaking bad. It's been worse than what it initially was during the Trump administration. Because the reason we're saying that is because a lot of these people that are, Biden did this, I can't believe that, are going to turn around and vote for the Democrat in 2024. Trust me, they're going to do the same thing. The framing
of the mainstream media, and even Johnny was saying the other day, people still watch that mainstream media, and they do. They really just get a lot of their information from it, and it's really, they just paint a different picture for the same exact type of behavior that's going out there. You know, a lot of Republicans were complaining the fact that they were giving them too much money, and that's going to be it's not going to be an incentive to go out and get work because you're sitting at home and getting all this money. But what they fail to talk about is the fact that when we do come out of this pandemic, if we ever do, there might be face mask for life, who knows, but when we do come out, there's going to be the majority of people who once had a job working somewhere are going to need some time and a little leeway to get started over again, to start that new life, to find that new job, to find that new lifestyle, and they're going to need that money. So the fact that you're giving them a little extra money now, it only makes sense to help them out in the future to get out of where they're going to get out of. Because if we don't give the people enough money, like I'm looking at my bank account right now and I'm like, Jesus, I'm getting nervous what's going to happen when they stop doing this stuff, when they stop giving unemployment, and we have to go out and do whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be scary, and it's going to be like that for a lot of Americans. So we should give them the leeway. We force them to stay at home. We shut businesses down. Let's give people the financial help, because like we said, in other countries, fam, they're getting way more than we got right now, and they can at least have the peace of mind. And it doesn't surprise me that suicides are way the fuck up because people are like looking at their debt. They don't have a job to go to now. Everything they had is gone, and they're saying, "What am I going to do?"
And they don't even have people around them because you're not supposed to hang out with people anymore.
That's it.
So
you can't congregate at a bar.
What are you doing? And I mean, this is just really bad. And the minimum wage wasn't included in that.
Another thing promised.
Yeah, and it's bad, guys. And again, this doesn't take into the fact that some cities need more money than others. Like some states, need more money than others. In California, what we are being given isn't enough, and the governor has the ability to do something about that, but he's not doing it, which is why he's getting recalled.
Yeah. So last time we had an article like this when it talked about Joe Biden showers, or I think the funny one was his Blinken when he made that thing saying Juan Guaido is interim president. He got roasted on Twitter. So let's take a look about some. Fam, I titled this one, Let Them Eat Cake. Rosie's Day of the Front Hole. What a great name, right? This perfectly demonstrates the way the elites see the average Americans. In their eyes, $1,400 is a lot of money to us unwashed plebs. Really, do the elite let the mask slip like this? Fam, I guess
the elite.
I guess I'm not the only one talking about the elite. But think about it. I mean, what do they think about you when they're giving you $1,400 now? And they were promising you $2,000 right
showers
away.
Of money, $1,400.
And it's going to sharply
reduce
poverty.
$1,400.
Even Republicans are clowning him, and that's what this next person said. Hermit K. Dylan. Yeah, she said sharply cutting poverty in the air quotes. Sharply cutting poverty.
Yeah, sharply cutting poverty. Yeah, right. That's why we have more people in the streets than ever. Sure.
And poverty's gone, fam. Look at this next one over here.
Disappeared.
Yeah, once I get that check for almost 1 month's rent, poverty will be in the rearview mirror of my new Ferrari SF90. And that's what they think about us when these people are in Congress. Is like, why are we giving them? Oh, that's too much money to give them. That's too much money to give the plebs, $1,400. It was like that one video I saw. The dude was like, oh, yeah, my $600 is in there. And it was like, oh, damn, car payment. Oh, damn, electricity payment. Oh, my God, groceries. He's got like nothing left.
Yeah.
I mean, and we've been doing this for what now? It's been a year.
A year.
And they've given you ugats. Which means shit, fam. They've given you nothing. And they're rubbing it in your face, too, as well. Robbie Yeager, Roblito Fire. It's always funny how the tone and propaganda changes when Democrats take office. Biden is giving you less than Trump after promising more. Showers money on Americans. My God. Could you imagine WAPO giving Trump a headline like that? This isn't journalism. It's PR.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, George Orwell said it best. Journalism is printing what somebody else doesn't want printed. Everything else is public relations. This is what they want. This is what they want printed. And I just wanted to put this about the Washington Post because I think people are seeing through these people, and that's why they're scared. That's why with the Daily Beast, I also take it as a badge of honor because I think we're making an impact. And Steph said the same thing. There's a reason these people are coming after us. They're coming after us because we're actually a lot more influential than they're letting us know. Is this a goddamn joke? Your lies show no hint of journalism. You're propagandists and stenographers for the ruling class, and everyone knows it. The people of this country are waking up, and your days in the club as elitist, narrative control peons are numbered. And this is why we do what we do, guys. This is why, because they're not doing this, and they're mocking the working class right now. I mean, this is to me is mocking to tell people that $1,400 is showering them with money. Is making a mockery out of the poverty that has struck this country in the working class of America. And let's point out that Biden has failed to deliver on every single thing he promised. Every single thing, okay? Every single one. You can talk about the $15 minimum wage. You can talk about the ICE cages that still exist, and they're calling them influx facilities. You can talk about the fracking. You can talk about completely backing from any chance of any healthcare, anything at all. And all of these things is what he ran on. And he ran on $2,000 stimulus check. You're not getting that either. Nope. And Jonny had that tweet up. That was awesome. You're not getting any of that. Like this is what you're getting. Fam,
we have breaking news. We have a picture of the shower that Joe Biden was talking about. Look at that. You get the hose, go up to the Fanta bottle. Has anybody ever seen that before? Why was I laughing so hard yesterday when I saw that and stuff? Because it made me think of the shower that Joe Biden was talking about.
I mean, that is the equivalent of what we're getting.
Oh, yeah, fam. We got Kim Jong-un on the horn.
Oh.
Kim Jong-un says North Korea called. They want their headline writer back. Kim Jong-un says, get him back over here. They want him back. Shower him with the love, fam.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you have another one over there?
Oh, no.
That was it?
Oh, no, yeah, that one.
What's this here,
I wanted to point out
Has Biden
that,
done anything yet?
Yeah, I just want to point out that Biden has failed on the most basic thing, right? The $15 minimum wage, as Steph said, was a given. It was already a guarantee. It wasn't something that you're supposed to force the vote on. That's why it's so maddening, because they had already agreed to it. Yeah. Now they're making shit up about a parliamentarian and all this other bullshit. Let's hear how many times Joe Biden promised you a $15 minimum wage.
Look at this.
It is long past time we have a $15 federal minimum wage. It's long past time we pass a national $15 an hour minimum wage. I think it's long past time that there's a minimum wage of $15 an hour. It's long past time to be a $15 federal minimum wage. $15 minimum wage. $15 minimum wage. And $15 million or $15,000. $15. National minimum wage should be $15. $15 an hour. $15 an hour. $15 an hour. The hell are we arguing about a $15 minimum wage for? A $15 an hour minimum wage. $15 should be a minimum wage, period. $15 an hour. $15 an hour. $15 an hour. $15 an hour. I do support a $15 minimum wage. A $15 minimum wage. A $15 minimum wage. $15 minimum wage. Why is it even a question?
One of the fights that I've been waging for a number of years now.
Since my first day in Congress, I have been fighting to raise the minimum wage. $4.25 to $5.50.
$5.15 to $7.25. You want to vote against the minimum wage? Have the guts to come up here.
It's been 10 years.
4 years ago, I was told raising the minimum wage too radical. Oh my God.
Going from $7.25 to $12 is a huge difference.
Oh, you want to more than double it. And what are you smoking? 12 is not good enough. We need $15 an hour. Now, is that something, Joe, that you are supportive of?
Bernie, I am extremely supportive.
Did you, of course, support a $15 federal minimum wage?
I do. It's well past time. The minimum wage nationally be a minimum of $15. It's well past. It's $15 an hour.
$15 an hour. $15 an hour. And minimum wage is a minimum.
Minimum wage of $15. People tell me that's going to be hard to pass. Florida just passed it. Our recovery plan also calls for at least $15 an hour. Oh, apparently that's not going to occur.
So you're saying the minimum wage won't be in this
My
record?
guess is it will not be.
Vice President Kamala Harris, she could overrule the parliamentarian.
We'll let the process play out.
We're going to pass a national $15 an hour minimum wage. You all think I'm kidding, don't you?
Fam, they're disgusting. Wait. The Democrats are disgusting. You can say that. You can say like, look, Donald Trump stood up there like, no, we can't do that. If we kill it in Arkansas, whatever. At least he didn't lie about it. This guy's sitting up there going $15 an hour, $15 an hour, $15 an hour. Oh, my guess is that they won't do it. What happened to that fight? Oh,
it is worse.
This happens all the time with them too, fam.
I don't expect Trump to give you that. I know where he stands. We don't rely on Trump to give you a $15 minimum wage. The people of this country were told that Democrats were for the working class, that Democrats cared about minorities, that Democrats care about racism. There's nothing more racist than not giving people the money, because that affects disproportionate. It affects people of color more. So all these people are BLM and all this crap, and they're saying all these things, but they're not living by it. You see Kamala Harris there holding up a sign. That's PR. That's not, she wasn't going to really support $15 minimum wage. These politicians say what they need to say to get you to vote for them. Then they turn around and abandon everything else. And we told you they would do that from the start. And yet some of these people complaining about Joe Biden are still going to vote for him or Kamala Harris in 4 fucking years. They're still going to do it. They're going to do it all over again.
It's a breath of fresh air, fam. And let's put down his stance on ICE. He lied. Fracking. He lied. Healthcare. He's like, we're at least going to get the public option there. He lied. $2,000 checks to media. He lied. He talked about ending the war in Yemen. He lied. He lies about everything. He's been lying for 47 years. But you guys always had to sit there and say, you shouldn't be privileged, Pasta. You're sitting there with your privileged, and you're not voting. We're trying to mitigate damage over here. Help us out. Let's get rid of Donald Trump first, and then we'll worry about everything else after.
Where's
hell
the push?
no.
Where is the pushback to Joe Biden from
Nowhere.
the squad? Where I don't see it. I'm not really seeing other than tweets. Tweets aren't pushback. That's not like we can tweet shit, and we don't have power in Congress. So we only have the power of social media. We have the power of our show. I don't have the ability to go and make legislation like AOC does. So don't compare me to AOC because I don't have the fucking ability to do what she does. And if I did, I would be out in the streets already leading a massive protest I have 12.5 million followers. Why can't we lead a protest demanding healthcare, $15 minimum wage, and stop the wars? Like, why can't we? Why is that not happening? Where's our anti-war movement? Where the fuck is everybody's heads at? Because I don't understand. We should be out in the streets protesting for what they've done. I think what's her face and her little
Marjorie Taylor Greene?
No, not Marjorie Taylor Greene. The cinema.
The thumbs down woman with the whole outfit.
Her doing that actually, I think, got to a lot of people finally, because they're like, wait a minute, this was once a Green Party activist. Yeah. She was part of that. She was with Code Pink. What happened? Well, what happened is money and power, and she dresses like Effie Trinket for crying out loud now. It's like it's the Hunger Games. May the odds be ever in your favor, plebs. Fight till the death. I don't care. And Effie Trinket was nicer.
Yeah. I also think too as well that she was also making a statement to people who in Congress who don't work against party lines and whatnot. She just wanted to rub it in their face too as well. I mean, it could be so many things, but I'm glad it did wake some people up. But I mean, she's not the one who was out there promising us $15 an hour. It was Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders, where are you at?
Yeah, I mean,
my good friend Joe. I'm sorry, but you're not going to have knishes if you don't get the $15 an hour, which I fought for 10 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the thing. 10 years ago, this isn't anything new. We've talked about it countless times. Shama Sawat was doing this 10 years ago. Yeah. What? They should be 25 now. And you know what? My idea is we shouldn't even focus on that. It's the system. The system is fucked because yes, some businesses aren't able to pay people that much because they're competing with the corporations. So what do? You have to give those small businesses tax cuts. You have to give those small businesses tax cuts. Yeah. And then they'll be fine paying $15 an age or $20 or whatever to people. But we don't have a system that allows for that. So we have to change the system because the system is messed up. And then I think we should provide more of a livable salary to everybody. Everybody gets a certain amount of salary that is a livable salary rather than just relying on a minimum wage. I think we should have a maximum wage too. Yeah. And all of these things that could be done, none of it is getting talked about. Other countries have already dealt with the things we are just starting to deal with. We're a fourth world country because we're unique. We have a very rich aristocracy. And we have a very, very poor everybody else. We are the richest country in resources and oil and military. Yeah. But the public here doesn't benefit from it. You don't see the benefit from all these wars we wage and all the resource extraction. Only the 1% see it. Yeah. That's it.
And I got to say something. The mechanism I think that's used so much to really get their way is elections too, as well. Because then you think, oh well, this is what the general population wants. They want these people in here. They're saying it's a better choice, whatnot. I mean, that's just I see people talking about elections are being rigged on the line and everything like that. So I'm like, yeah. I mean, how can we not think for a second that they could be? We need verifiable elections and stuff. But that's a great mechanism. A lot of people shut up. Well, that's Joe Biden won. He won fair and square. So
we can never talk.
We shouldn't push back against what he's trying to do because most Americans agreed that he was a better choice than Donald Trump. So let's just shut up and take our medicine. Shut up and take it. That's what they're saying. So Dan Fritz, thank you so much for the Super Ray. 145 people watching on Rokfin, guys. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Steph even talked about it. Looks like we have a little bit more stuff over here coming on a Rokfin from some other people. Bam. That was my whole Steph imitation stuff like that.
That was really bad.
Dan Fritz, thank you so much. Thanks for all the hard work, guys. I appreciate you. Dan, we appreciate you. Any of you people out here that come to the Rokfin alone, we appreciate you. And then when you give that love, we double appreciate you. You're awesome to do that for us. You're helping us get out on the street. Remember, the Fuck Censorship protest is coming up. And if you can join us out there, please do so. Otis Buckley. I'm curious to know which unknown black gun rights group did a protest with the WST Boogaloo Boys. What does the WST stand for? I don't know. Also, Malcolm X was never a Panther. Please stop. You're only proving how little you know about our plight and movement. Otis is still mad at us.
Yeah, Otis has been saying a lot of bullshit all over the place.
Well, I mean, we wrote back to Otis and we explained our point, what's going on, and I understand that Otis is kind of, you think that insurrection on the Capitol was just the most awfulest thing in the world and whatnot. We're telling you, we went there. We knew what it was about. We're not okaying anybody who went in there and stuff, but it was more about people thinking that the elections were unfair. It wasn't a big white supremacist circle, you know what, of them just getting together. That's just bullshit. And if you want to believe that mainstream media crap that's just keeping us more divided, you know what I'm saying, then that's your choice, Otis. Kim Schwari, Kate, I'm loving this discussion. How about more neighborhood guest visit segments, please? That's Kim Schwari, Kate.
Aw, Kate.
Mm-hmm. And I think that might be the last Super Ray.
I know, it's crazy.
Well,
It is crazy, fam.
Can you read this one?
Yeah. Lucky Burrito, A&M.
I love that one.
Keep fighting, fam. Your voices are so important. I will still fight for all of us to have better lives, no matter if they attack me for speaking truth. Saying women of color is degrading to me. How about a strong, qualified person? To focus on person of color with a vagina does not mean qualified. Leo sends Brownie his love. I will email about our handmade items for donations today. You know what? And I think diversity is important in the sense of people should all have the same abilities to reach whatever potential goals they want. But the reason Steph and I mentioned that was because we were mocking the fact that they actually lead with that. Oh, AOC is a woman of color, and so is Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. That's why they're the squad, and it's so diverse and beautiful. And we have General Lloyd Austin there, and these brown people are gonna feel so great that they were bombed by another black man that wasn't Obama. It's just they lead with this. But behind it, there's nothing. It's vacuous. There's no policy for the working class. There's nothing that they're actually doing. And the fact is, people like Steph and I, we get attacked, even though by the same people who say, "Oh, you're being racist and misogynistic," by the same people who say that about the squad getting attacked. They literally attack us with misogynistic and actual racist shit. Yeah. And like, why? Well, because we don't follow their little fucking narrative. Yeah. And they attack you more because of that. Because it's like they can tell Pasta, "Oh, you're just a racist, privileged white man." But with me, like, they have a harder time using that trope. So that's why they get so pissed off at me. And then they try to say I'm not Latina, and they try to say all this other shit that they try to say.
You're not behaving like the proper Latina woman that you're
supposed
to behave.
I'm not in my
out,
place.
You know what I'm saying?
It's very that is actually racist.
It is this kind of like I didn't understand it at first, and I was like, fam, they're just going after you because you're more popular than me. And it's like, no, somebody explained to me, and you've been saying too as well. It's because it's this like kind of like nuanced racism where you're not behaving like the person that you're supposed to behave with. It's almost like they're getting mad at you for not for speaking outside of your it's fucked up. It really is. 3-chord grifter, what a great one. I'm a 3-chord chord.
No, it's cord.
It's cord. CHORD.
I don't know.
3-chord grifter. Thank you for the super red. Thank you, 3-chord or cord or 3-chord. I don't know. It could be chord. Amir Engahanji. Enga Hajiani. Amir, thank you so much. Solidarity, please don't bomb Iran. Well, hold my beer is what Joe Biden's saying, because everything it looks like they're doing, they're getting more and more closer saying Shia militants and Iranian backed. There are millions of Iranians in the U.S. and Iran is now a Chinese client state. How do you think it's going to turn out?
Hopefully not war, because they have to ally themselves against us because we're going to attack them.
Yeah.
Wit to wit.
The Convo received a tip from Wit to Wit. Thank you so much.
Wit. Okay.
And that's that. Johnny, you got anything up there from the thermometer? Nothing new? Anything else to talk about?
No.
It's gone.
Oh, okay.
It's completely gone. Did you take a picture of it?
No.
It's completely gone.
Oh, we wanted to update on the Derek Chauvin trial verdict, because that trial is today. But I haven't seen an update on that, but we will update you as soon as we can.
We'll keep our eyes open for that. Johnny, what else we got? Okay, so we have the action for a team, Assange. GoFundMe has refused to release their funds for the Clovers for Assange events on March 17th and 18th. We can't resist delaying this any longer, so we switch platforms to go get funding. Please help us share the new fundraiser list.
So that's
Link.
for the Action for Assange protests that will be right before ours, and you can see that there on the 17th and 18th. They're going to be at, I think they start at noon. And then ours is, the next one is the Fox censorship protest. We will begin our protest in front of CNN. And this is Wednesday, March 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern, because we will be there in D.C. And the reason we're pushing this is you guys have seen how we're getting attacked now, right? I mean, this hasn't stopped. Fort Fisher, Hard Lens, Kit Cabello, all these people have been attacked as well. Franco was demonetized. Niko was demonetized. We were demonetized. The Graham Elwood was demonetized. Now they're putting little, labels on everybody who's actually a truth teller. They're smearing Caitlin Johnstone. This is affecting everybody in the independent media, especially the people who are actually out there telling the truth. And we're all getting censored in one way or another. So it's more than ever important to actually stand up to these people. I don't think these people have received enough of a opposition from independent media. We have felt so powerless, and like, how can we face this Goliath, this monster that is it's so powerful in Google, right? Like, it's Google and YouTube and the mainstream media. They're all working together to crush our voices. They're writing smear pieces to smear people telling the truth as conspiracy theorists. This is what they're doing. We're under attack. There is a battle going on that a lot of people are completely missing, and it's a battle for free thought, for the ability to tell the truth. And that's really what's happening, is that we are all fighting back finally. And I think this protest is growing. We know so many of you are going. We're very excited. If you have any questions and you want to reach out and see more information about it, or ask about how you're going to get there and all of that, please reach out to us via email or message me on Twitter. I try to read as much as I can. We are very busy, but we try to keep as much as we can. I know people sometimes say they need rides and all of that, and they're coming from other states, but I want to make it possible that as many people as we can get there, because they need to hear what's happening. And also, especially right now, at a moment where we're not even getting a $15 minimum wage, we're not getting, health care, you're not getting anything. So the ability to fight for these issues hinders on the ability to speak freely about what's going on. And if we can't speak freely about what's going on, if we don't have the channel, if we don't have Jimmy Dore, if we don't have Slow News, if we don't have the Grayson, if we don't have all these channels that are wonderful on YouTube, people aren't going to know. They're not going to know who we are. The fact that they wrote an article means they know who we are, and they know that what the things we're talking about, and we're a threat. So since we're a threat, we're under attack, and that's what we have to fight more than ever, and we need your help to do that. So anything that you can do to help us is greatly appreciated.
Totally appreciated. And fam, it's about a fight between the elites and the people. And I say not the pigs, but stand with the people. And I say all the power to all the people. Andrea says, happy birthday, Fee, belated. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to see Steph on your show. We love Steph Zambrano. She's awesome. And Ryan Wilson says, thank you for continuing the fight. Thank you, Ryan, for giving us that love. You're actually putting the gloves on our hands to swing the punches. And we're going to go out to D.C. and we're going to swing some punches with a megaphone. It's peacefully protest. We're going to peacefully protest. Fuck censorship. Come join us if you can. Is that it, John? Yeah. All right. So for Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella,
Johnny Sue on those 1s and 2s.
Convo out.
Thank you so much, everybody. We love you.